And I think we're live. Welcome to welcome to There Will Be Spoilers. The name of the show should give it away. We're going to review a couple of movies today, and there most definitely will be spoilers because we'll be diving deeply into them and examining every nook and cranny and crevice, every in and out.
Also, Scarlett Johansson boobs.
don't give it away yet. We're building up to that.
Never. I got to ruin them right out of the gate. Otherwise, they may not understand that there's going to be spoilers.
Well, we're going to save that one for last, I think. Would you agree?
Really? I don't know.
I'm easy either way.
Well, I haven't really thought about that, but yeah, we can talk about the reflecting skin first, if you want.
Well, both movies today have two things in common. They both have skin in the title, and they're both examples of why you should not get in cars with strangers.
Well, oh boy, are they ever!
That's very true.
Although with Scarlett Jo, I most definitely would. I'd be in the van before she finished the sentence, I think.
I mean, take the risk. Why not?
Yeah, she could say, look, I'm an alien, and I'm going to take you back to my place and kill you. And I'd go, yeah, that's okay.
I can see you naked first.
I'll take the risk.
Well, you'd think you'd get to see her naked first, but in this case, you wouldn't.
Well, actually, no. She gets her titties out for the one guy.
Well, yeah.
And her ass. We see.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah. Lots of ass.
But anyway, we're jumping ahead because we've got a completely different movie to examine first. We'll save Scarlett Jo's titties till last.
Yeah, I mean, we can start personally with the movie. I find I feel it's the more difficult of the two.
It is the headier one of the two.
Yeah, we'll use that for foreplay. So
yeah, there you go.
Preemptive before the titties.
I don't know how to describe this movie. I've watched it twice in the last 2 weeks in preparation for this show, and
it's strange. It's very strange.
I found it rather disturbing the first time I watched it.
Well,
not so much the story, although there are elements of the story which are somewhat disturbing, but just the way it looks.
I'm really hoping that you can explain something to me that's been bothering me ever since you made me watch this.
Well, I was going to say, I read on the internet that apparently he shot it during maximum light during the day, so
he did.
To get that effect.
Yeah, it's hard to explain to anybody watching. It's hard to.
I can give it a go because I thought about it a lot. It's got very high contrast, which I like high contrast in movies, especially black and white movies. And I thought while watching this, if I took the movie and I drained all the color out of it and made it black and white, it would probably be quite beautiful. But it's the color.
It's so bright and orange.
Yeah, it's like all the blues have been pulled down and all the yellows and browns have been, what's the word?
I suppose
exaggerated. No,
exaggerated. I think. Yeah, actually, it would be a better word than enhanced in this case. Yeah,
and it just gives it an unnatural kind of feel.
Unnatural, but not unrealistic at the same time. It's hard. It's really hard to explain.
I found it interesting to look at.
All the time.
I found it interesting to look at, but also, like I said, somewhat disturbing. It's just a strange feel to it, but it's unique. I'll give it that.
It feels like a fever dream to me. Really, it does.
We were kind of discussing why it feels like that, and it's mostly because it's sort of shot from the perspective of a child, like how they would interpret everything.
Mm-hmm. That was the idea, I think.
So it feels very not correct. Nobody really acts the way they're acting, but from the eyes of a child, they might seem to be acting that way.
Well, curiosity got the better of me, and I had a little bit of a read on the internet about it. Apparently, the director was trying to capture like the American Gothic type thing, and
very much so.
I think he did. I think he did capture that. It was kind of, you know, that Midwest kind of feel, yet somewhat disturbing, and also it's very bleak, very open plains. The buildings are kind of in ruin. The people are in ruin.
It's very poor. Like
yeah.
It is. You mentioned that the people are in ruin, just like the buildings. Yeah, everyone is very run down. It emotionally drained.
Not the type of place I'd want to grow up, I have to say.
No.
I mean, they make their own fun though, because
as we see in the opening scene.
Who doesn't love a little animal murder and torture in their childhoods? Come on.
I've never blown up a bullfrog, I have to admit. But if I ever do, I have to remember to blow and not to suck. I think that's rather important.
Oh, you just drained them.
I mean, these boys may well. Oh, that's bad.
That must have clogged your straw.
Oh, I shouldn't go there.
This movie certainly goes there.
And the sheriff, how freaky is the sheriff?
Oh, so weird.
That's definitely jumping ahead, but yeah, he makes me uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable scenes to watch.
Everything's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I guess we should go through the story then.
Yeah. It opens with a little boy named Seth Dove. He's 8 years old, and
set in the 1950s, I think. Or...
It is in the 50s.
Yeah,
it's a little vague. I mean, it isn't vague. It is in fact set in the 50s, but there's nothing in the film itself to tell you that. It's just a synopsis that you would find on the back of the box or perhaps in the trailer. But yeah, it's based in 1950s. I think it's Idaho or Nebraska.
Somewhere where there's lots of wheat fields.
It was shot in Alberta.
I was just about to say,
it was actually shot
in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, Alberta. And all the open plains of Alberta.
And I think I read somewhere that he sprayed the crops to bring out the yellow. So I don't know.
He did.
What he sprayed them with, but yeah.
Bullfrog innards.
Are they yellow?
Maybe.
Well, apparently not, because
the movie just got it super wrong.
So it's set in the 1950s, in the middle of the Midwest, in a rundown town, basically. And it's about one boy in particular, but it starts with three boys. Seth and his two friends.
Mm-hmm.
And
Aben and Kim.
And Seth finds a rather large bullfrog.
Impressive bullfrog. Humongous.
Yes, it was large before they even inflated it. Which is what they proceed to do. They put a reed up the bullfrog's ass and inflate it like a balloon. I don't know if is that possible? Does that work?
All I can picture is Steve Irwin describing this now. That man rolling in his grave.
He died from a stingray, not an exploding bullfrog. Thanks. So.
Oh, I'm not sorry.
I'll thank you not to be so insensitive.
I never watched Steve Irwin, but anyway.
Well, he was Australian.
That means you all have to like each other.
They inflated the bullfrog by blowing it up like a balloon. Now, have either of you tried this? Did we experiment before the show?
No, I actually don't know if this is possible or not.
Your preparation for the show is shocking, I gotta say.
Yeah, why didn't you do it?
Because it's my show.
Hey, it's summertime there. All the frogs here are frozen.
I tried, but I couldn't find a big enough bullfrog. So.
Yeah, you just try it on a little one. It's fine to scale. Don't blow it up that much.
Plus, I was afraid I'd forget to blow and suck instead. Which,
yeah, that's the problem you have, apparently.
Well, not apparently, because I haven't done it. But, I think it's a rational fear.
Big fat liar. We're all on to you.
So they inflate the bullfrog like a balloon and leave it in the middle of the road. And the English lady, what's her name? Is it Dolphin Blue or something?
Yes.
Dolphin Blue, yes.
Sounds like a porn star or something.
Dolphin Blue.
Or a toilet cleaner. I can't decide which.
Well, she sounds like a retired porn star.
Dolphin Blue. How many guys? How many guys did Dolphin Blue in her career?
So she's walking down the road, and as she gets to the bullfrog, she stops and looks at it. And Seth, using his slingshot, fires a rock at it, and the bullfrog explodes. Boy,
does it ever explode.
Yeah.
All
it should
over.
Not have been funny, but it was so funny.
Well, hopefully they used a stunt bullfrog.
They did.
No animals were actually harmed. So,
yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they didn't actually torture a poor real bullfrog, but it was hilarious nonetheless. And horrifying all at the same time. I don't know how to feel about it.
Could I just say that this movie makes me glad that I don't have kids, by the way?
Oh, God, yeah. Little sociopaths.
Yeah, they're not really pleasant kids, are they? So
no, Seth especially seems... Well, he's a kid, especially Well, I assume they don't go to school, for one, and Seth seems to be the most sociopathic of his two friends.
Yeah, definitely.
As we will see.
Well, yeah, the other two feel pretty badly about the poor frog, actually, afterwards.
Well, Aben wanted to blow up just as badly as Seth did. He was upset it wasn't his turn.
So
yeah,
basically,
but afterwards, it wasn't the ginger Kim, right? He was pretty.
Yeah.
He said his mom said it was a sin to kill.
Yes.
To kill the frogs.
Yes, after in the barn after they retreat. Yes.
So yeah, Seth's mum's. Well, she's I think a good catch. I think Steph's
really?
father was very, very happy with his choice and a lucky man.
And not gay at all.
No, and she's clearly not psychotic in any way.
Oh no, she treats her family with a lot of respect.
Mum of the year, I reckon. Yeah, without a doubt.
Wonderful woman. Anyway,
but she finds out about the bullfrog and demands that Seth go and apologize to the English lady, which leads to what I think is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie.
It's so awkward
and bizarre.
Yes.
It is. I assume you're talking about the scene in the house.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Can I just talk about the scene leading up to it? And we were mentioning earlier about. No, it's just it's the same scene. It's just
with the mother
when Seth is approaching the house. I really like the musical score in this movie. By the way, it has frightening undertones and it's really whimsical at the same time in other scenes. But this is why I feel that the film is portrayed through Seth, through his point of view, because I think only a child, especially an 8-year-old child, would find apologizing to a neighborhood woman for blowing up a bullfrog all over her face. I mean, as scary as that would be, think about it, how scary that might have been for you when you were a kid. It's this massive, huge event.
Oh, I probably would have had a meltdown.
Yeah, and they really play that up. I feel, when Seth is approaching Dolphin Blue's house. It makes it feel like,
which is in the middle of nowhere, by the way.
Which is in the middle of nowhere.
Everything is in the middle of the nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's rather bleak.
It's like a house and then a field, and then a house and then a big ass field, and then another house, big ass field.
acres between houses.
Yeah.
So anyway. so should we go to inside the house, which is,
of course,
like I said, I think it's my favorite scene, or at least one of them. So he goes in to apologize, and Dolphin Blue is creepy as fuck, which isn't surprising because I think all the characters are creepy as fuck in this movie.
Yes. Which, this whole scene feels interpreted through a child.
It really does.
Yeah. It makes me wonder how much of it, if we were seeing it play without that filter, would be normal.
Well, that's the feeling I get from it. I feel like if you or I were there, I still think we would think these people were insane.
Yeah.
And creepy as fuck. Yeah. Not as bad. I think it would feel different. I think a lot of the tones would sound different.
Yeah, like a kid doesn't understand quite how to read people's emotions yet, so everything's extra heightened and weird.
Well, yeah, I get the feeling that Seth, as he was approaching the house, thought, and I will mention that he doesn't, I'm not sure if he likes or dislikes Dolphin Blue. He probably just finds her weird at this point. But he probably thinks that he may die, maybe. Or
she's probably, maybe she thinks she's gonna do some of the weird stuff his mother does to him.
Well, yeah, it could be anything.
Was the his father reading the vampire thing, was that before this scene? I think it was, wasn't it?
No, I think. Oh yeah, actually, no, you're right. It was.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
Because
I was reading a pulp fiction magazine, like a pulp magazine. Yeah.
Because the mother calls Seth over from sitting and talking to his father about the vampire magazine. So
yes,
yeah, it's just
because during the scene with Dolphin Blue in her house, I knew nothing about this movie going into it. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know if it was a drama or a horror or what it was, right? And
it is classified as a drama horror film.
Well, there you go.
Well, I did wonder for a moment there whether Dolphin Blue might turn out to be a vampire. It was just so creepy.
Yeah, it really was.
The first time I watched the movie, I felt the same thing. I wondered the same thing.
Because they just mentioned vampires just beforehand, and I thought, are they going in that direction? I'm not sure at this point.
Well, I mean, an American Gothic vampire film could be really cool. So, yeah.
And when she was out in the sun, she was covered right up. She had like a scarf wrapped right around her head and sunglasses.
Mm-hmm. Very little skin was actually in contact with the sun. So,
yeah,
or sunlight, I should say.
So do you want to explain the inside the house scene?
Well, you know what? It's your favorite scene and my favorite scene.
No, you go for it.
Well,
I want to hear your take on it.
How do I explain? Oh man.
Awkward woman totes out a box of her husband's hair.
And bits.
And bits.
Well, I mean, Seth just wanted to apologize for blowing up the frog in her face.
He got a harpoon?
Well, once again, we've got like the hard light with the deep shadows and the exaggerated colors, so the whole thing looks strange. The light's coming in through the window, which creates some very interesting contrast between light and dark.
You see the dust in the sun rays.
Yeah, visually it's very set up, and Seth is obviously a little bit creeped out about being in the house with her, and she sits across from him and she talks about aging, and she says something like, "How old do you think I am?" And he says 50, and she sarcastically says, "I'm 200."
After scoffing.
Yeah.
Well, she thought it was a compliment. She said, "Oh, that's a compliment. I'm much, much older than that." Which, again, makes you think that she could actually be a vampire.
Yeah, and she talks about how she got married and her husband died. Was it a week after? Or
a week after? A week after she described that.
She described him hanging himself to an 8-year-old.
Yeah, so she's rather depressing, let's say.
That's fair.
Yeah, well, yeah. Just before this, she actually she shows Seth her home from the sitting position, and was it her husband that was? Oh, her family had a whaling past.
Her husband's family.
Her husband's family.
Her husband's family. Yeah. So and there are artifacts.
She does.
Yep,
she gives
a working harpoon.
Yeah, she gives him an actual harpoon.
That's what you do with to an 8-year-old.
It's give wonderful. It's so
especially
wonderful.
Someone like this.
Sociopathic little bugger. Give him a harpoon.
Someone who's just exploded a bullfrog. You want to give them a working harpoon. That's fantastic. And then she pulls out the box.
The
box.
Now, I didn't really think that bottle was full of his sweat. I thought that was just child interpretation. It was cologne, wasn't it?
It was cologne, yeah.
Okay.
That was his interpretation, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The hair was still fucking weird.
Yeah.
And teeth. Who does that?
A tooth. One single tooth. And as she's showing him all of these items, I think she starts with the hair. And then the tooth, and then the hair, and then the cologne. She gets more and more irritated with each item.
And distressed.
Yeah, very distressed.
Insane.
It's just
insane.
Batshit insane.
And it just builds and builds, and the music builds with it, and
And then she starts rubbing the cologne on herself, and I think that's when Seth decides to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Well, yeah, wouldn't you? I mean,
don't blame him.
He stuck it out for a long time, actually. I would have been gone as soon as she pulled the hair out of the box. I'm like, whoa.
Well, I mean, what do you think he was saying? Do I have to use this thing, or what's going on here?
This is a mistake. She won't die.
Yeah, so he runs out with the harpoon.
Because you don't forget your harpoon in the crazy lady's house.
No, so that's good. Yeah, an 8-year-old with a harpoon. Especially that 8-year-old. Good start to the movie.
Why wouldn't he have a harpoon?
So what's the scene after that? Is it the one with the car pulling up at the gas station?
Yes.
Yes.
Seth and his family live at the only gas station, I assume, for a few hundred miles.
Not anymore.
Well,
sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
A little bit, only a little bit. But we should describe the what kind of car is it? A Cadillac, or actually,
it's a nice shiny black car.
It's a very shiny black car
with a bunch of greasers in it.
Yeah, I love the way that you flip the tail light up, and that's where the
it's really cool.
I don't think I've ever seen that before, but I thought that was a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, it's really cool. Very cool, fancy car. Seth loves it because, I mean, what little boy doesn't love a shiny black fancy car?
Yeah, so the black fancy car pulls up with a bunch of greasers inside. He goes and fills it up because his dad's reading his vampire magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you describe the interaction with the driver and Seth?
Intimate.
Uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
That's probably
for the viewer. Seth was just a little maybe taken aback, but
yeah, it was intimate. That's why it was uncomfortable.
Intimate, yeah.
That adult greaser man was being intimate with the 8-year-old, and it was not nice.
Yes, putting your finger on an 8-year-old's lips and saying, "I'll be seeing you around," or "See you later," or something like that. Probably not a good thing.
Where are your parents?
Yeah.
Oh, one of them's nuts, and the other one's reading a vampire book.
I think his exact words were, "I'll see you soon, Seth Dove," after asking him his name.
Yes.
Yeah, not good.
No, not good.
No. Very not good. Very not good. Would you say we've technically met the real antagonist for this movie? at this point?
Well, I maybe that's a matter of interpretation. So,
I suppose.
Let's see.
Maybe that's the guy in the car is a reflection of how Seth is going to grow up.
Ew. That's not very good.
Well, he's well, as we see, he's a delinquent and somewhat psychotic. So who knows?
Kind of makes sense, actually.
Oh yes, I think the Cadillac part actually happened before he went to the house, didn't it?
No, it was just after he comes back, asks his dad if he's thirsty, because that's the thing you ask your dad every time you see him.
Oh yeah, I should mention that. Every single time there's this interaction between Seth's father and Seth. His dad asks him all the time, "Is he? Are you thirsty, Seth? Are you thirsty?" And Seth always says, "No, Pa. You'll dry up, son." And we'll find out why Seth doesn't like to drink water shortly.
Yeah, soon enough, very soon.
So what's the next scene after that?
I think the water, actually, that evening.
Yeah.
So what? When? Oh yes, of course.
He snuck his father's vampire book.
Yeah, I thought you meant when he went and got the water for his father from the big water thing outside.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, and he wasn't. There's a little bit of a trick to that, a little bit of an undertone to Seth saying he's not thirsty.
Yeah.
But Little Miss Anon is obviously talking about the scene at night, though, with the water.
Yeah, that comes right after this.
So yeah, Seth is reading. I think it's his father's vampire book.
Yeah,
it is.
He's snuck it up to his room.
He's now convinced that Dolphin Blue, former porn star, is now a is now a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
So he's reading the vampire book. His mum comes in, tells him to put out the light. He puts out the light. She walks out. He relights the light, and she comes in and catches him. So she forces him to drink a massive jug of water.
The whole thing.
Yes.
Probably 8 liters.
It's torture.
Yeah.
It is actually torture. And he gets to the point where
you can actually die from drinking too much.
Yeah.
Water. You can. Yeah, your kidneys can fail. It doesn't take much, actually.
Not just that, but apparently your cells can like pop if they're overhydrated. Yeah.
I think it's sort of like if you lay in water for too long, you can actually melt. So.
No, because I remember.
Takes a long time, but
I remember years ago there was a story of a 20-year-old girl going to a rave and having some ecstasy, and she died, but she didn't die from the ecstasy. She died from overhydration.
Mm-hmm.
She just kept on drinking water and basically, died from that.
Oh yeah, your cells can enlarge and your kidneys can shut down, your liver can shut down.
So poor little Seth's very upset, and his mother's actually plugging his nose and dumping it down his throat at one point. Yeah, she's a lovely lady.
She's well adjusted, you know.
As we've said, she's a very good mother, so very, very attentive.
I'm not surprised Seth turned out the way he did, to be honest with you. His father seems nice enough, though.
He does.
Oh yeah.
Harmless and maybe a little bit dim-witted, but you know.
He's just sort of a nice.
A little eccentric, but.
Okay.
Well, but who is
the evening before that, actually, you see his father kind of joking around with Seth at the dinner table, as his mother is being the sane, rational woman she is.
Yeah, mother's having a meltdown. Kind of, Dad's like,
yeah, oh yeah, just kind of rolling.
Your mother's at it again.
Having a little fun with it to make his son feel better. So he seems to be actually a good dad, just a nice all-around guy.
It's no wonder her son's a little sociopath because she's fucking batshit.
And it's during the water torture scene that his father and a neighbor come in, and the neighbor's rather distraught.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it's what's the youngest boy's name?
Aben.
It's Aben's dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's missing.
Gee, I wonder who might have taken him.
It's definitely the vampire lady.
Well, I mean, that's what Seth thinks.
Well, yes, and must be the vampire lady. Couldn't be fucking the greasers. And oh god, I was gonna that's gonna bother me. I ruined a joke by forgetting the actor's name in Grease. John Travolta. Yeah, the weirdo in that car is gonna be John Travolta for the rest. John, because he doesn't have a name, so.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
So yeah. Seth believes that Dolphin is responsible for his friend's disappearance.
The police have another theory, though.
They do. Is this the scene where they interrogate? This is before they go to the house, isn't it?
It's before the interrogation, yes.
Oh, okay. So did they go to the house before the interrogation or after?
Before and after.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, actually, only after. No.
It is after the interrogation.
Yeah.
No. It's before the interrogation. It has to be.
Because, then the neighbor comes, says his son's missing, and then they find him, and then the interrogation happens.
Well, they first Seth and Kim, the remaining boys, go to Dolphin's house.
Yes.
And,
yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And they break in, and like I said earlier, this movie makes me glad I don't have kids, because they break in and they destroy her bedroom for no reason other than
she's totes a vampire,
and they're bored 8-year-olds basically.
Yeah.
She kidnapped their friend.
At first, they're kind of in awe of her house and all the cool things in it.
And then they go, "Hey, why don't we just smash everything up?"
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
A nice 80s cop show montage, slow motion.
Oh, yeah.
Of them destroying her bedroom. It's actually quite beautifully shot.
It is, and meanwhile the audience is sitting there going, "Oh, little bastards."
And while this is happening, Dolphin Blue comes home, and she decides to go sit in the lounge room and masturbate.
Because, who doesn't do that after a long day of shopping, really?
Oh, I do all the time. I'm doing it now. So.
Oh, of course you are.
Yeah.
You're drenched in sin.
You're going to have to have another shower.
Well, he's doing that now, too. We just don't know.
Yeah. I'm in the backyard with the hose.
Oh, is that what you call it?
Yeah, the neighbors are watching. So, I like a show.
Oh, good. Okay. So, this is good. We have
regular Australian afternoon. Just
yeah.
We have a secondary audience.
Is this simulcasting on Pornhub?
Yes, simulcast. Yes, that's right.
You didn't tell me you were going to do that.
If we start calling this show a podcast, we can actually broadcast Pornhub.
Ooh.
Anyway, she starts to have a really nice time in her chair, sitting in the sun rays.
Intimate exploration of her.
Yeah, she takes masturbation to very heights. She's like feeling herself up. It's a show. It's almost like she knows they're there.
It's another scene where I think it's portrayed through children's point of view.
Yeah.
It's strange, and
you're kind of fascinated by what she's doing. I don't think they're aroused by it. They're just staring at her.
They're certainly not aroused by it. They have no idea what she's doing.
Vampire things.
Yeah, I was just about to say some weird vampire thing.
Yeah, vampire stuff.
Some has to be some kind of ritual or something. I can't remember what alerts her to their presence, but they're sneaking down the stairs.
They're trying to open the window to get out.
Yeah, and they scream, and she screams,
and they scream,
and we all scream for ice cream.
There is no ice cream.
The cake is alive.
That's what you think. I don't know what that
There's no ice cream. There's only ass. There is no ice cream. There's only ass cream.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so they
that was fun until that point. See, and you just ruined it.
I do. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the movie.
Beth runs home.
Runs into his father, and they have that conversation again.
This is on. I think it's on his way home. He stops by. He finds on the side of the road the police and a screaming woman.
No, that's way later.
No, it's not. When they find Aben's body.
Yeah, inside the water thing.
Mm-hmm.
He finds it.
Oh, wait, hold on a sec. I think we've missed something. I can't remember if it's later on or not, but the two weird sisters.
Oh yeah, with the freaking seagull for no reason.
Was that when Seth left the house?
Yeah, I think when he's running from Dolphin's house after they bust up her room, he runs into them on the road.
How do we describe them?
The cooing weirdos with a fucking seagull, a dead seagull.
Well,
because why not?
Is it just me, or when they walk past and stare at Seth and then walk off into the cornfields or wheat fields, do they not look like they should have penises?
Maybe.
I don't know about that. I thought they might have been mentally handicapped, maybe inbred. I don't know, but
maybe. But then why are they there?
I don't know.
And why the fucking dead seagull?
And why the weird cooing?
So many questions and no fucking answers.
And it's like the only time we see them, right? It's
true. They never come back.
That is
it's
the
like
only
one
time.
1.5 minutes. 1.5 minutes maybe. We see them walking down the road and then they go and that's it. And there's no explanation or anything. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's just.
I liked it. I liked the scene. I thought it was interesting.
It was very interesting. Another scene I feel is 100% through a child's point of view.
They might have been completely normal people doing completely normal things. Maybe they were speaking another language and he heard cooing. So that's what we heard as in the audience because we're viewing it through his eyes. Possible?
Nah, but probably Uncle Daddy married cousin mummy. I don't know.
They had the fucking dead seagull. The dead seagull's weird as shit because Alberta's really far away from the ocean.
Well, it's not based in Alberta, but
I know that was the joke.
Yeah, but the Midwest isn't close to the ocean either, though. So.
Oh, well, they're fair enough. Garbage dump gull.
So yeah, the missing boy's body is found in the water thing.
Yes, by Seth. When his father asks him for water, like he does every time he sees him.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get the interrogation.
Yeah, just ignore the body, Seth, and go get me some water.
Yeah. He doesn't react, eh?
Not really.
He just sort of sees it and then nothing.
Well, he is a young sociopath in the making, so...
Yeah, why... again, it's just weird that... Because they were friends. Why would you react at all?
So, yeah, anyway, the police suspect that the father, Seth's father, is the murderer, as opposed to the weird car, which is constantly driving around in the middle of nowhere.
Which nobody else seems to notice.
No, but it should be easy to spot because it's not like it's a built-up city, right? It's nothing but...
Yeah. Everybody seems to know everybody.
Yeah, and it's a black car that stands out amongst the bright orange, yellow fields.
It's so shiny. It's so black.
But no one's noticed it for some reason.
No. Anyway, the authorities, think that Luke, Seth's father, is responsible. And the cop that interrogates him is definitely old school.
Somewhat
don't like no gays.
I guess Luke, either in his earlier years, unclear of as if he was married before. I don't think he was even married at this point.
No, he wasn't. She apparently married him to cover it up.
Yeah, that was the idea, and it's unclear of his age at the time, but it was probably early 20s, maybe. Anyway.
Well, it must have been, 20 years ago, because they got an older son.
Yeah.
So...
Well, yeah, they do. As we'll find out. Yeah, like 20, maybe
they
22,
were both
23
young,
years.
Probably. Yeah.
So, yeah. And
so the boy he was found with in question was 17. So the question is, how old was Seth? He must have been like early 20s or something, I assume.
Well, or Luke, yeah, I would say early 20s.
Oh, sorry, Luke, the father. Yes.
Yeah. But this police officer described it as full embrace, and
it's not a long way off from kissing to killing.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, all gay men are pedophiles, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
there's not a long way off from kissing to killing.
Yeah,
that would be a great title for a movie.
Yeah, you know, that actually reminds me of an Italian slasher movie or something. It just seems like an appropriate title for that. You know, like Blood and Black Lace, Don't Torture a Duckling, Long Way from Kissing and Killing.
Could do.
So yeah, they assume that Seth's father, Luke, is the killer because 20 so years ago he embraced a 17-year-old boy.
Yes.
And obviously, if you're gay, then you're a pedophile as well in
and a murderer.
In the eyes of a 1950s police officer in the Midwest.
Yeah, and you know, see, this is another, to Luke's wife's credit, to her credit, she's very supportive after the cop leaves.
Oh, so supportive. Stop crying. What are you crying for? She's a witch, man.
She's a hard woman, let's say.
Yeah. This all leads up to what I find personally to be the most disturbing suicide I have ever seen on film, by far.
Yes, Seth inserts a reed up his father's ass
and proceeds to blow. Not suck. It's very important.
Yeah, don't suck.
It's actually more disturbing than that.
It is. It really is. I find it to be one of the most disturbing scenes I have ever seen in any film ever.
He seems awfully happy about it, though.
Well, I mean, I think he feels he is completely doomed at this point. Poor Luke.
It's very sad because he's a nice man. He's like one of the only really endearing characters in this movie.
He is. He's very endearing. He seems very kind and actually a decent person. But in his grief, he basically jogs out of the house, and they own a gas station, and he proceeds to place a coin in the meter and douse himself in gasoline after filling his belly with it as well.
Which is ironic because the wife is always complaining that he smells like gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And now Seth is watching him do this.
Yeah, and he burns himself and the whole gas station down.
He does.
Not without making eye contact with Seth first and going, "Son?"
Yeah. Now, this being one of the most disturbing scenes I've ever seen, it's also one of the most beautifully shot.
Yes, from memory, it's shot at night, isn't it? Or dusk?
It is. Yeah.
Early morning, I think.
When the explosion happens, as it would, we see through his son's eyes, and obviously, everything surrounding the blaze is black, as it would be. But yeah, it's just an inferno, and it lasts for what feels like several minutes as a viewer.
So the one redeeming character or nice character in the entire movie is now dead.
Yes.
So it's all downhill from here, let's say. And he's not the last one to die either.
Oh, of course not.
No. So what's the next scene? Is it the angel, or is there something?
No, that's later. That scene fucks me up.
Does the brother come home first?
Yes, the brother.
He does.
Comes
Cameron.
home first.
Yes, Seth's brother, Cameron.
Yes, he gets a break from journeying with the hobbits to come home.
We get to see Aragorn's ass.
It's a well-deserved break.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks young in this too.
Yeah, he aged down a lot somehow.
Oh, vacation will do that for you.
Just needed some R&R and some English lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Seth's much older brother comes home. Seth is around 8, and his older brother's early 20s, probably.
I'd say 25 at the oldest. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been off in the military, and he's come home because obviously his father's died. So, yeah.
His reunion with his mother is really strange.
I gotta say, if I grew up in that family, in that place, I would be joining the military too. Just saying,
just to get out. Yeah.
Well, Seth does greet Cameron with an American flag. Cameron is actually none too pleased about that.
Yeah, you go. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I guess he learned some things in his time in the military that he didn't like very much.
Oh,
we find out later on that he is sick because of something.
Oh yeah, he found out some things and caught a few things in the meantime.
So, I'm trying to think what the next scene is.
His and his mother's reunion in the kitchen.
Yeah, Ruth. The mother, the all-supporting mother, is kind of shell-shocked. She's pretty fucked up from her husband's death.
Which is surprising, because you think she wouldn't care that much.
I think she was pretty fucked up beforehand, but now she's just fucked up in a different way.
Slightly more so.
Maybe some guilt. Hopefully guilt.
Yeah. Although she was the only one supporting him, I think, when the accusations came, surprisingly.
Yes, in
absolutely, yes. Yeah.
In front of people, yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. So yeah, now the older son's back in Bleaktown, and he meets the English lady, and they kind of connect.
Oh, of course, she's visiting her ex-husband's grave. He's visiting his father's grave, and this is when Seth gets an interview.
Can I see you in a porn movie?
Dolphin Blue 3 guys.
You're that vampire porn star, aren't you? He says. And she says, "That's right. I keep my husband in a box."
Just some teeth and hair. I've eaten the rest. I need to restock. You want to come over?
So they connect for some reason. Not exactly sure why. I guess I guess there's not many other people in that town to connect with. So,
Well, Greek will do that.
Kind of understand it. Yeah, well, that's true.
You're the opposite sex. You'll do.
You're not related to me, thank God.
Yeah. God, have you seen those pigeon ladies? God. Up like them.
They're fucking seagulls dead. I don't even think they know.
anyway, Seth witnesses a little bit of a connection between Cameron and Dolphin, and he's a little bit mortified because Dolphin is a vampire after all.
Yeah, it's jealousy as well, obviously.
Well, yeah, of course it's jealousy, but it's a lot of it is. It's all jealousy, but of course Seth brings it out as fear for Cameron's life.
Yeah, the vampire thing's an excuse. So yeah.
He gets taken aside by the chief police officer for a little interview.
Oh yes, I can't believe I forgot that scene.
Oh, the police.
I even mentioned it earlier. Yes.
Yeah, you almost skipped right over it.
The weird sheriff who must be the unluckiest man in the Midwest, I think. Mm-hmm. He's got an artificial hand. He's missing an eye, and his ear's been chewed off. And he explains to Seth that these are all 3 different things that have happened to him.
Yeah.
A dog chewed off his ear, a wasp stung out his eye. I can't remember what happened to his hand, but something happened to it. I don't know, a bear chewed it off or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
He's just been meeting wild animals ever since he became a police officer.
Yeah, and actually, I think that scene is probably equally my favorite to the scene in the house, just because I found it funny.
Weird.
It's
and funny.
Strange. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is oddly funny. It's very uncomfortable and strangely funny.
Does he touch you?
Yeah.
So, did your pa touch you anywhere, boy? You go, yeah. Where'd he touch you? In the kitchen.
You know what? That's a fucking joke you would make. That's why you'd like this so much. It's a goddamn dad pun.
The exasperated look on the sheriff's face when Seth says "in the kitchen."
Did he touch you anywhere else? What you mean outside the kitchen?
You have done this to me before.
And we don't see it on camera, but we kind of see the sheriff's arm move, right? And I'm sure he grabs Seth by the nuts with his fake hand and says, "No, boy, like this," which I thought was quite disturbing. Even though it's not a real hand, it's still, you don't do that to an 8-year-old.
He might have just tapped him though, and not actually grabbed him by the balls.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, he can't really grab things with a fake hand.
No, I mean he could cup them, surely.
Yeah, I guess.
I just found that disturbing coming from the sheriff. I mean, I don't know.
How he doesn't have a doll on hand, so he can't go, "Show me on the doll where your paw touched you."
Do we have to put the doll in the kitchen? That's what I want to know.
Apparently for this kid to get it, yeah.
Well, clearly he hasn't been touched inappropriately. He doesn't have a fucking clue what the sheriff's talking about.
He's very confused. And he pokes him in the groin and he goes, "No." Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. The sheriff is very exasperated by that response too.
The weird looking sheriff with his eye patch, artificial hand, and chewed off ear. What the fuck? I mean,
why not, right? Why not? Well,
why not?
Not even close to the most what the fuck part of this movie anyway.
You know what I thought about the first time I saw this scene, and you might agree, Bane, you might not, but I actually thought this seems like something Quentin Tarantino would do.
Yeah, no, I didn't think that, but you're right. That is the type of thing he would do.
Just weird.
Just this bizarre dialogue between 2 opposing characters.
And an interesting character at that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He is strange, but he's very interesting. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So then Seth runs back to the graveyard and discovers that his brother and Dolphin Blue are having a good time.
And there's not even a camera crew there, so
So she's doing it pro bono. Oh man, I should have said pro boner. Fuck.
Yeah, I thought that as you said it, but anyway.
Yeah, what a missed opportunity that was. I'm off my game. I'm all high on cough syrup.
And snot. You're full of snot.
I am full of snot. Do I sound full of snot?
No.
Oh, that's good. You're lying, though.
No, I'm not. You're fine.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So we up to the angel part? Because I want to get to that scene because I find it weird.
Yeah,
I don't want to skip something.
I think we are. Yeah. In the barn that Seth, Kim, and Aben before he disappeared. And
oh wait, no, we are skipping over something. We're skipping over Aragorn's ass.
Oh, the confession, the emotional confession about the A-bomb experiments. Yeah, that's actually important.
Yeah, so he goes to see Dolphin, which distresses the hell out of Seth. He tries to keep him from going, but he goes anyways, and Seth follows him there and eavesdrops on a conversation between the two of them behind a closed door. Where he proceeds to confess about nuclear testing he was a part of whilst in the military.
Yeah, I assume it was, well, somebody refers to them as the Pretty Islands, so I assume he's referring to Bikini Atoll. So
something like this.
Why am I not surprised? This is such a happy, upbeat movie. Why am I not surprised?
So all of the atomic bomb testing in the Pacific
Islands and
where several hundred men and women died of cancer shortly after due to fallout.
Well, they did give him sunglasses, so that's.
Well, they did, but he was describing silver snow that him and his shipmates had quote unquote snowball fights with.
Oh, and the natives singing "You Are My Sunshine," which is
and I mean, it's a shame. I have to say, it's a shame that Cameron isn't younger because those Cadillac boys might really like him for this scene.
Well, yes, we get to see a whole lot of Aragorn ass and caressing of the neck, which I mean solidifies that she's totes a vampire.
Well, Seth is witnessing this. So,
yes.
Yeah, it further cements in his mind that Dolphin is indeed a vampire.
And now
it is converting Cameron.
Well, yes, we're now wise. We're now wise to the fact that he just has nuclear radiation poisoning.
Well,
yeah. So when his hair's falling out, Seth thinks that it's because Dolphin Blue is draining his life force.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But it's just radiation poisoning.
I have to mention
nothing to worry about.
Before the radiation sickness conversation, though, right after Seth witnesses Dolphin Blue and Cameron embracing, he runs out of the house again, and this is another beautifully shot scene, very disturbing. He witnesses Kim, his other friend, being abducted by.
No. They do the barn first.
You're jumping ahead because we have to do the angel scene first.
Okay.
Because they fight over it, remember?
Oh, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Yes.
You notice that we're all confused about the order of scenes in this movie?
I've seen this movie.
You two are.
I've watched it twice in the last 2 weeks.
I've seen this movie 6 or 7 times in the last 10 years. And I still misplace things in my head.
Yeah, it's just I think it's a little bit more confusing than your normal run-of-the-mill movie, but
a little bit. It's disturbing though, because the whole time you're just uncomfortable.
Yeah,
give you a break. There's no break in the uncomfortableness. It's just the whole thing is very uncomfortable.
So anyway, they're in a barn and they find I don't know how you describe it.
It's a goddamn fetus. It's a petrified fetus.
I'm trying to think
ossified.
What it is.
It's an egg.
It's not actually an egg, but
it looks like an egg. It's like paper mache egg.
I always thought it was a jar, personally.
It's not glass. It's paper.
Yeah, it's like a big paper mache egg, but that doesn't make any sense.
None of this makes sense. Explain the fucking fetus. I scoured the internet to try to figure out what the fuck this was supposed to symbolize. There's nothing. I swear he just put the fetus in there so Seth could talk to it.
Well, there is one article of the director. To quote the article, becoming giddy at the question. He was giddy that people were asking about the fetus, and then left it at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just put it in there as a weird thing?
Yeah,
like
he must have. I'm going to fuck with everybody and put a fetus in there.
I think it's one of those things that maybe has an answer in his head. He just doesn't give a shit, and he would rather just have people theorize on it.
So he's not doing a J.J. Abrams mystery box.
No.
No, there's just a fetus for some fucking reason. A petrified fetus that smells like fish, as the boys lovingly tell all of us.
Well,
what do fetuses smell like? Maybe that's normal. I don't know. I don't go around sniffing fetus.
That woman needs to wash her pussy. I mean,
there's some advice from the show.
Wash your pussy, or it'll smell like fish.
Ladies, if your aborted fetuses smell like fish, you need to wash more. It's disgusting.
At least wash it before you put it in the paper mache egg.
Yeah, that's our public service announcement for the show.
So if young boys in a barn happen to find it,
it smells good. At
least clean.
Yes.
And smells good. Yeah.
Nobody likes a smelly fetus.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So anyway, they argue over the fetus because Seth thinks it's what's the other boy's name?
Aben.
Aben's.
No, Kim. Or no,
Kim.
Aben. Sorry,
Yeah.
Aben is the dead one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Aben's the dead one. Yeah, he thinks it's Aben as an angel, a fallen angel, because when you get murdered, they rip your wings get ripped off, and you don't get to go to heaven.
So he keeps the fetus in a box under his bed, which
but
not in the egg or jar, by the way.
However, that happens after he witnesses Kim getting abducted. He takes the fetus, and on his way back to his house with this fetus, he sees Kim getting abducted by the shiny black car,
and doesn't say anything
to anybody, because why would you?
Well, they did have an argument over the fetus, so
yeah, he's a dickhead.
Fuck you.
No, please.
I mean,
no.
It's not like Seth is a sociopath or anything.
No.
He's not like he's an emotionless husk. He's
perfectly well-rounded young man with functioning empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway, as he stares blankly at his friends getting abducted by murderous sex fiends, predatory pedophiles, he is having a conversation with Cameron, which I think is the next morning.
Yes. Cameron comes in and goes, "Can you look in my mouth? I taste blood." And he goes, Seth says to him, "Oh, your gums are bleeding."
Yeah.
So gingivitis.
Yeah. And you're going bald. Because he found some of Cameron's hair. I think a night or two before. I forgot to mention.
Well, yeah, we did actually touch on that. He's totes getting eaten by vampires. She's sucking the life out of him.
Yeah, it's not the nuclear gingivitis. It's
no.
It's totally the vampire.
Totes the vampire. She's a vampire lady.
Mm.
And then,
of course, Seth explains all this to the fish-smelling fetus in the box under his bed.
Oh yeah, we get to watch him talk to his fishy fetus on the regular.
I never thought
he basically prays to the thing because he thinks it's Aben. Yeah.
Well, he thinks it's an angel too. So.
Yeah.
Weird. Why?
So again, mentioning that he kind of consults with fetus Aben.
And then there's a commotion outside, a little ruckus, because Aben's father's shown up again.
Yes.
Very, very drunk, very, very belligerent. Thinks Ruth is hiding Seth's father, that he's not really dead.
No, he apparently he thinks that he faked the burning alive.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Somehow.
The explosion was just to cover up hiding him, I guess. Which, you know, actually could be a thing. Because it would incinerate the body. There wouldn't be any evidence left, they could say. They could claim.
Oh, I'm sure there'd be bones and something.
Depends how hot the fire is. Because cremation fires burn up everything. As far as I know.
Yeah, but they're a little bit hotter than...
a gas explosion with, like, a bunch of fuel underneath?
Yeah, I think they would be.
Yeah.
Maybe. Anyways, 50s mentality for a drunk man who just lost his son is that she's hiding him. He's still alive.
Yeah. Maybe he's come back from the dead. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, Cameron handles him rather gently.
Until he gets a hold of the harpoon, because we haven't talked about that in a while.
I love a good movie with a harpoon.
Don't you? Gets a hold of Seth's harpoon, goes at Ruth, goes at Cameron. He gets a couple of big old gashes on his hands before subduing Aben's father and sending him off.
He gets the big old gash on his hand when he goes to Dolphin Blue's place.
Mm-hmm. No, was it from the harpoon? What? What? Oh wait, is it wait. Shut up. Did you just snort?
Yeah, I did. Because the joke went right over your head.
It really did. I really am high on fucking cold medicine.
You're gonna have to listen back to that later.
No, I understand the joke now. I get it now. God.
Anyway.
Pick on me. I'm drunk.
Anyway, so
I don't think I've ever heard you snort laughter before.
I don't do it often, but I found it funny that that joke went right over your head.
It doesn't normally would. Normally I would have made that joke myself. Just because I said giant gash.
Anyway. So they go searching for the missing boy. Yes. Gee, I wonder why these boys keep going missing. I wonder if it's the strangers in the mysterious car. Obviously not. It must be the dead guy who burnt himself to death.
Well, the sheriff seems to think so.
Yeah.
They do unspeakable things to them. What kind of monster would? As if, the pedophilic undertones of this movie weren't strong enough. They gotta, rub your nose in it a little bit more.
Yep.
And Seth comes by and sees the commotion with police, and Kim's mother screams at him and knows that he knows something because
they hang out together all the time.
They do hang out together all the time.
The sin.
The sin. You make my son sin. And then they come out of the barn with Kim's body wrapped in the American flag that he was abducted in. That he must have found on the side of the road when Cameron threw it down and said he didn't want it.
He did. He was covered with it when we see him actually get it abducted.
That's a heart-wrenching scene, actually.
When Kim gets abducted?
No, when they find his body.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The mother's reaction.
Yeah.
She should have won an Oscar for that.
And there's a couple of lines in this movie that really sum it up. The older brother says, why don't you go play with your friends? And Seth goes, they're all dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite unemotionally.
Yeah. Like, they're all dead. So
Yeah. When like Anon mentioned though, when she said that Kim's mother, the actress, should have won an Oscar, when she breaks down and cries and screams, "What's killing all the children?"
Yeah.
That delivery, it was absolutely amazing.
It gets rid of a lot of, because the film feels a little bit campy for a bit. At least to me, it's a little bit, because it's so weird. It makes you laugh awkward a lot.
Yeah, well, I didn't sense any camp in the film at all.
Probably not the right word. It's
no, I wouldn't say campy at all. It's definitely not Flash Gordon. Let me put it that way.
Yeah,
it's unintentionally funny.
Or Flash Gordon sometimes. In this
case. It's cringy. Like it makes you laugh even though you shouldn't laugh. Like when he touches him in the dick and stuff like that. It's just.
Well, that's why I thought when I first saw it that's something, you know, it's a Tarantino moment in a universe where Tarantino films don't exist.
Yeah,
it's that strange, awkward laughter where you feel bad for laughing,
but like that, the scene where she's screaming at him at first, like you're the boy with the sin. It's almost a little bit funny until they come out with Kim's body, and then it's just. Right back to business, you know.
That is actually my favorite scene in the entire movie.
Me too.
Yeah, and that line specifically, just the way she delivers that. What's killing all the children?
While cradling her dead son.
It's so chilling, and she looks like hopefully at the sheriff and his deputy.
Yeah.
It's just awful and amazing.
But Seth reacts not at all. Not at all. Little sociopath's just standing there like, oh, they found my friend's body. I guess I should go. This is my cue to leave. I'm going to go now. And he runs into English lady on the street. She's waiting for a ride. Because of course she is.
Well, she wants to go to town.
Yeah, I think she was walking to town, not waiting for a ride. But
that's right.
He does get a ride because the mysterious black car that no one else, including the sheriff, seemed to have noticed, pulls up.
Acknowledged in the least, anyway.
Yeah, and basically says, "Do you want to ride?" And she goes, "Yep." And they talk to Seth too.
Well, of course, they call him the main greaser,
John.
John refers to him in the same way. Seth Dove.
Hey, Seth Dove. You want a ride?
Yeah.
You want to come for a ride too?
Before I forget, I should mention that I don't want to jump ahead, even though there really isn't much to jump ahead to at this point. That Seth's reaction later on to the event that transpires from this, it leads me to believe that he knew that the men in the black Cadillac were a threat.
Oh, definitely, because he saw them take him.
Yeah, he does know. He does know.
Yeah, this. He watched them take him,
and he directs it at Dolphin. He doesn't let her know. He doesn't warn her at all.
Because he wants her to go away.
Yeah. He wants her eliminated. So basically, he knows that when she gets in that car, that she's going to get murdered. He doesn't give a shit.
I don't think he realizes that she's going to die. He thinks she's a vampire. Right?
He does. He really does at this point.
I don't think he was prepared for her to die. That explains his reaction.
I don't know.
I think
he thought something. I think he just wanted something really bad to happen to her.
Maybe the reaction. Anyway, should we talk about that last scene, or
we should? I guess we're pretty much there now.
Yeah, we are.
So she gets in the car with them. They drive off, and then she dies.
Mm-hmm.
Her body's found in a ditch on the side of the road. It's nicely kind of laid out, isn't it?
It's not in the ditch either. It's in the field, in the grass.
It's on the side of the road. Basically.
It is on the side of the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
laid there all serene, dress pulled to right.
Yeah.
And I think it's Cameron and his grief too that really breaks Seth, because I think his brother's the only thing he cares about, really.
Yeah, well, basically, they're sitting on the porch, kind of on their front porch, kind of arguing a little.
Oh, this is where we get the "they're all dead" line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah, and Cameron noticed some commotion. It's a police car, and that's pretty odd. I guess in this.
There's no kids. There's no kids left. So who's possibly dead now?
In the neck of the woods, and Seth, I think he knows at this point. He tries to stop Cameron, and Cameron pushes him away and begins to run as he sees the white dress in the distance. And another amazing scene, one of my favorites, really hard to watch, is Cameron's reaction to Dolphin's dead body.
It's hard. Yeah,
he's a little bit upset. Let's say.
Just
a tiny bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And we see Seth finally showing some real emotion.
He finally reacts at least a little.
Yeah, he. It seems that he's like overrun with guilt and or maybe even self-pity. And in another absolutely amazing, beautifully shot scene, we see him run through the wheat fields and just scream at the sky
as it's becoming night, and we get the silhouette.
Yeah, and then it fades to black, and
he screams for a long time.
Minutes.
So why is he screaming? Is it guilt over allowing Dolphin Blue to die, or is it guilt because he's hurt his brother, or both?
Both. I don't think he expected her to die, because he looks shocked when he sees that she's dead. He really thinks she's a vampire, right?
Because he thinks she's a vampire.
Yeah.
That's why. That's kind of what I get from it too, a little. Why was it so easy? I don't know. Maybe I'm totally reading into
There's
it.
There's no stake through her heart. There's no.
The reality that she's not a monster.
She must be human. She's still she didn't turn into a bat or any other such thing kids would think about vampires. She was just still a person.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might have known exactly what was going to happen and did it anyway.
I don't. Maybe he wasn't expecting Cameron's response, because he's not emotionally equipped to deal with this type of
which is surprising considering the family he grew up in.
So. Yeah. No, what I mean is he's 8. He doesn't understand love in that way, I guess.
No.
You know.
Well, maybe for even his dad, he didn't react.
No. See, this is. Am I the only one that noticed this? Did it not look like he smiled when he looked through his fingers at the inferno?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he did.
Is that just me, or?
No, he did, but I think it was just fascination with all the fire. I don't know if he's quite that psychotic. Could be.
Oh, he could be. I think he might be.
Maybe that's what maybe that's what the screaming was. This is fucking brain just breaking.
So that was a fun movie about a child, sociopath, and pedophiles in a car.
Oh no, it's a coming of age movie.
And someone dying from nuclear testing, and
he was alive at the end
for a while, and a lady who kept her husband's remains in a box while she went insane and masturbated. So I think it's a good movie for the family, particularly.
Me too. It's a prime candidate for a wholesome 80s sitcom.
It's a Disney movie, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, hey, Disney kills the parents all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think we made it, as we do, seem a little bit silly, but it's a beautifully shot film, and it's harrowing to watch. It is.
It is. It's very
uncomfortable and incredibly disturbing.
Those tiny scenes of levity, the things that you can laugh at, they're the only breaks you're going to get.
I don't know if I'd use the word beautifully shot. It is competently shot.
It is competent. Yeah.
But it's visually disturbing just because of the colors.
It's very orange.
Yeah, being exaggerated the way they are. And obviously that's the intent.
It is. It's very purposeful. Yeah. If you're disturbed by it, then I believe that the director and crew definitely got the reaction out of you that they wanted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No doubt about that. But I don't know if I'd describe that as beautiful.
I thought it was quite striking.
Yeah, I think artistic is a good word. Competent.
Yeah.
Because they obviously achieved what they wanted to. I don't know if I'd use the word beautiful. I think I'd use the word disturbing.
Beauty is subjective, man.
That's true. That's true. That is true.
I personally, I think the film is absolutely amazing. I hold it in the same regard as a lot of David Lynch's classics. It's an underappreciated movie that most people haven't heard of to this day, and its cult following is kind of growing slowly. I discovered it on cable by accident.
Oh yeah, I've discovered a lot of movies like that. You just turn them on, not expecting anything, and
I just saw the title, Reflecting Skin. What the fuck is that? And I kind of just read the synopsis and watched it from the beginning, and it's like, how have I not heard about it? Yeah, how have I not heard about this movie? 1990 was when it was released, and yeah, it wasn't even released on DVD until the early 2000s, and the VHS tape is incredibly rare.
Wow.
So I think now with digital distribution, it's really starting to gain an audience.
I think there's a lot of movies, unfortunately, that fit into that category. A lot of movies, no doubt, will be featuring in coming months. But I
think so. Yeah,
cult classics, which are not heard of by the mainstream masses.
Yeah, and I can't blame anybody for not watching it, because who knew, really?
Yeah, how would you even know of its existence? Honestly?
Yeah, from what little I know about the movie's production, it barely had a theatrical run. It wasn't successful in terms of what it made. It had a tiny budget. Well, I would say, I say tiny, but it had a pretty small budget of about $1.5 million, which is pretty small.
Yeah, but it had Aragorn's ass in it.
Yeah. Oh, his ass is tiny. There are far better asses.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a butt.
It's amazing, though, that we think of $1.5 million as small, though, isn't it? But I mean,
no, yeah, that's what I was thinking just now. Is like, holy moly, I can't believe I just said that. But I mean,
I think it's fairly accurate these days.
Mm-hmm. Well, for now, yeah, absolutely. And everything I've looked up, I can't find what it earned in the box office. I have no idea. I think it
must not have been much.
Well, no, I shouldn't say it bombed. I don't think it had much of a theatrical run to begin with. I think it was definitely more of an art house film, even in.
I was going to say it was released at a festival, wasn't it? I think it did quite well.
It was. I'm sure it did well there. But then
didn't
it just
make
kind
any money, though.
Well, no, but apparently people loved it, but then the word of mouth just died.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and it's just one of those films that's kind of been lost to history, and it's starting to pick up a little bit here and there.
Well, if honestly, why that might be is because of all the pedophilic undertones. That might be a little too much for a lot of people.
Well, it is heady, and the way it's shot, I think a lot of people would find it boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of people like simple popcorn movies, like your typical Transformers type thing.
And though those movies can be fun, and I like those types of films a lot, but
I call them fast food movies. They're like McDonald's.
Well, they're disposable.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay to eat McDonald's here and there, but you shouldn't have it every meal.
Well, no,
it'll rot you.
It'll rot your brain.
Yeah, well, if all you watch is Transformers movies, big dumb movies like that, it will rot your brain. I think having a mixture is essential.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing wrong with the occasional big dumb movie.
No, absolutely not.
Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Fight me.
So should we go on to? Oh, actually, there was another question. What else has the director done?
As far as I know, he's a stage playwriter.
Oh, okay.
Which explains his use of Aragorn at that time when he was still mainly a stage actor.
Well, yeah. As far as I know, he's done. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. 2 movies I haven't seen. One called After. It seems that Reflecting Skin was his first movie that he directed, and then he directed one called The Passion of Darkly Noon in 1995, and Heartless in an unknown year. I couldn't find a year for that. But he seems to be interested mostly in drama, horror, suspense type.
Weird shit.
Yeah. I would say David Lynch light, but judging from Reflecting Skin, he could definitely hold his own if you were to compare the 2 directors.
I'd like to see Reflecting Skin in black and white. I think it would be an interesting experience.
I wonder how much it would shift the tone.
Well, it might actually make the film feel completely different. It would make it kind of makes me wish I could watch it for the first time in black and white. I think it would have to be done properly, though, not just turning the color off on your TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In terms of contrast, I don't think the contrast would shine through if you just. I think it would have to be edited that way. But yeah, it would be interesting to see because I love the that heavy contrast of a good black and white film.
Gonna get lots of that next episode. Lots of that.
Oh well, those are fun films too. So.
Oh yeah, talk about that later though. we have Scarlett Johansson boobies to talk about.
I was going to say,
the next movies really get under your skin. So.
Yeah, so let's go on to the next one. So we've gone from pedophiles riding around the car to Scarlett Joe riding around the van.
Yeah.
Not before she strips naked a hooker and steals her clothes.
I'm going to say I found this movie extremely unbelievable. Not because of the premise of the alien in a human skin going around killing people, but the fact that it took Scarlett Joe 3 attempts to get someone to get in the van with her. I mean, come on. She could pull up next to a Scotsman with his wife and 2 small children there. Before she finished the sentence, "Do you want to get in my van?" he would have pushed them out the way and he'd be diving in there.
Well, here's the thing.
Can I first say though, Bane, he would have said something completely fucking unintelligible because I cannot understand what these fucking Scotsmen are saying for the life of me.
Really though, the reason she turns them away. She asks them if they have a girlfriend or if they have family, and if they say yes, she leaves.
Yeah.
She's looking for unattached single men with no family nearby.
Oh, they would have.
So they don't notice for a long time.
In that van before she finished the sentence. Come on, let's be realistic here.
I mean,
just in terms of the plot, Bane, focus.
We know she's pretty.
Okay, so I can sum up this movie in a couple of sentences. I mean, it's a fantastic movie. Don't get me wrong.
ScarJo's tits and dick.
But it's the plot is rather simple. It's an alien in human skin, that's the name, who rides around in a van, tempting people into the van so she can take them back to her place and de-skin them. And he slowly develops emotions.
Yes.
And then finds out that she's got a vagina.
Or doesn't. I think doesn't. Because he's confused too.
I think the skin has a vagina, but she doesn't.
Yeah,
that's just it. Yeah, yeah. It hits something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And she grabs the light and has a look. Like what the fuck?
Anyway, I absolutely.
Anyway,
we are. I absolutely love this movie.
Same here. I think it's unlike the first one, which is bleak and disturbing. I found this one to be, I wouldn't say beautiful, but it is beautifully shot, very artistic.
It is. Yeah.
The way it's shot. Like I said, it's a rather simplistic story, but it's a beautiful movie nonetheless.
It is. I actually have counted. I have counted. I should mention I have counted. I could be wrong about this, but there are only 237 words uttered in the entire film.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say there's not a lot of words in it. I got to say, though, that Scarlett Jo does a fantastic job.
Actually, she did a really good job here.
She really does. She really shows her acting chops. And this is 2 years after the first... pardon me. 3 years, actually, after the first Avengers film.
So, yeah, I think she was the perfect choice.
Yeah.
Much better than, say, someone like, I don't know, Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
I don't think she'd be picking up many of them.
No, I don't think it would have worked with her somehow. But, you know.
Hey, you guys want to ride?
Come on, what's the Adderall?
That's Under the Skin 2, starring Roseanne.
That's right. I got Budweiser. You got a family? Oh, fuck this.
Speaking of low-budget movies, I don't know what the budget was for this, but I imagine the biggest expense in this entire movie would have been Scarlett Jo's paycheck.
Oh, God, yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you agree? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think so. I don't know the budget myself, but I can imagine. I don't know the reasons.
Were still really good.
They were. I don't know the reasons why she said yes to the role.
Probably because she's sick of being typecast. If she actually wants to show some acting chops,
I would like to think that it's because she really liked the script and the film, and I think that's why. I mean, I don't think that she's a stupid person. I mean, some people would probably think so just because she's like a reasonably attractive actress in a Hollywood setting, right?
Well, now she's a feminist icon. She was murdering the men's.
Yeah. No, but I don't really know the story behind it. I purposefully didn't do a lot of digging.
Well, I can imagine a couple
when it comes to that. Yeah, it's probably the paycheck. But
well, no, I was going to say maybe she wanted to do an artistic movie.
Yeah,
and she liked the script, or alternatively, she liked the paycheck.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing I do know though at like cons and stuff like Comic-Con or whatever, where she goes, she really, really enjoys talking to people about Under the Skin. and signing things. And there are a couple of videos on YouTube of her. Yeah. There are a couple of videos on YouTube of her absolutely beaming when somebody brings a production poster of Under the Skin up to the signing booth. Yeah, like she loves it. I think she personally really loves this movie, and I think it's definitely refreshing for her as an actress to kind of talk with people about that as opposed to the Avengers over and over and over again.
So as I said, probably the biggest budget item in the movie was her paycheck, because the rest of it isn't overly complex. It's beautifully shot, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is Scarlett Jo driving around in a van.
It is
13.3 million budget, somebody in the chat said.
And 12 million was her paycheck.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how much she would have been paid, but I imagine it would have been
a lot. And you know what? If any director in their right mind, if they had a budget of 13.3 million, I don't know if that's the real number, but I'm just going to go with that. They would be wise to pay her in this case, because
especially because you needed it was mostly just her, so you needed an actor that's going to carry it.
Not only that,
when I
name recognition.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I need to touch on that for a second. When I first heard about this movie, I was like, "Oh, Under the Skin." It was in some I can't remember the website, but I was just reading about it, and I was, "Oh, that movie sounds really interesting. It's based on a novel by some guy by the same name. Oh, that synopsis sounds really interesting. Oh, it's starring Scarlett Johansson. Well, fuck that movie. That's going to be stupid."
You did the same thing with the others. Disregarded it.
Yeah. No, and that was a mistake on my part, obviously, because I watched the movie anyway and went, "Holy shit!" Like,
I would think having
not only can this woman act, but she actually carries the film. So the name recognition is secondary to her just being a really fucking good actress in this case.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. This is not going to sound right if you haven't seen it, but there's numerous scenes where she's emotionless, and then it's like a switch is flipped and she'll put on emotions.
Yeah, there's one scene in particular we can talk about later. I'm sure you're thinking of the same one, where I thought of her like a cat pouncing.
Yes. Very much, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just the way that she switches the emotions on and off like that, I thought it was quite impressive. Now, that's not going to make sense if you haven't seen the movie, but I think if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
So apart from Scarlett Jo driving around, some of the most beautiful scenes in the movie is when she lures the men into her lair, and she is somewhat like a spider. I kind of thought.
Yeah, actually,
she is. She almost. Well, it's seduction. I don't know if a lot of this is just symbolism. I think it is literal in this case. I think it is just seduction. I think these men are so enamored that they don't notice this shit in it.
Well, until it's far too late. And also, the freaking music inside that.
The musical score throughout the film, I should mention, is amazing.
Yeah, it's I've
listened to it. I've listened to it several times just on its own, and it's awesome.
So we should describe that when they walk into her house or lair, if you want to call it that. It's totally black inside.
Yeah.
And she's walking ahead of them, and they're walking behind her. And it slightly changes with each person, but you'll get the idea. They're walking behind her, and as they're walking, they slowly start to descend as if they're walking down steps into water, black water. until they're completely submerged.
More like oil. It's very thick.
She remains on top of this oil, just as if it was hard as concrete.
She's totally Jesus.
Yeah.
But there's no ripple effect when they're walking like it would with water. It's very thick,
yeah. It moves a little bit as they descend, but just a little. Yeah.
And we see
before we get to.
Oh no, go on.
No. I just before we get too far ahead, I'd like to talk about the opening.
Okay. Yep.
Oh yeah, we kind of skipped right over that, didn't we?
Yeah, I feel the opening is actually really, really important.
Yes, motorcycle man chases down.
The film starts just with a point of view perspective of a man on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Just driving super fast down a highway. This film is based in Scotland. By the way, it's not really important, but there it is. In Glasgow, actually, to put an exact location on it. Anyway, after the opening, he stops on the side of the road after kind of flagging down a van. We don't actually see him flag the van down. It's a white van. But they both stop at the same time and kind of intersect each other. And this motorcyclist just goes down to the side of the highway into a pitch black ditch and retrieves a body of a woman.
That appears to be a hooker.
Yeah, and he throws her in the back of the van that stopped.
She's obviously been attacked by a wild haggis.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got to watch out for those haggises.
Haggis eye.
Haggis eye. I'm sorry. Oh gosh, I'm such a.
Did that go in here?
Such a troglodyte.
Great minds.
Anyway, she's being mauled by a haggis, and so he throws her in the back of the van.
She's very, very dead.
As one would do. She's dead.
We think, anyway.
And we come into a white void.
Yes.
Completely white.
But they, fully nude Scarlett Johansson.
Yes. And she strips this dead young woman of her clothing, and this young woman, in a close-up of her face, sheds a single tear. And Scarlett Johansson's character simply gets dressed.
And walks out.
And walks out.
We had to go on a little shopping spree with her.
Yeah. She buys makeup and
new clothes and
makes
herself seductive.
I was going to say you shouldn't have said totally naked Scarlett Johansson, because any audience we have are now gone.
Actually, we gained viewers when I said totally naked.
They're downloading the movie as we're speaking.
Yeah, there's totally nude, top to bottom. You don't get to see Beaver, but there's full ass and lots of.
Well, you do a little bit, but you're gonna have to wait for us to tell you when. So.
Actually, well, no, it's hidden in shadow. You don't get to see like full vagina, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I know.
Shadow Beaver is still Beaver.
I mean, I guess Shadow Beaver is still Beaver.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway,
that's as Shakespeare said.
No, verily and forsooth, Shadow Beaver. Anyway, after she goes on her shopping spree and makes sure she looks nice, as I assume she would think human men would think so. That's when we see her drive around in the van for the first time and pick up the first unintelligible Scottish man.
Hey, he's the most understandable of the lot. The first one.
No. Yeah.
I get words.
Yeah. You get a word here and there. Anyway, that's when the black void comes into play, and now we're caught up.
And there's cops.
Yeah, that first scene is really, really, really important.
Yeah, it's very important. I can't believe we just kind of glazed right over it.
Yeah, keep that single tear in mind going forward.
And the motorcycle men.
the motorcycle man at this point, but yeah, we will soon find out that there are more.
Yeah, we see him a lot throughout this movie, kind of cruising around.
But the motorcycle man is not a man, though. That's the thing.
That is the thing.
He must be an alien.
I would assume so. I think that's a pretty safe assumption.
I'm not saying it was aliens.
That's right. Anyways, Bane, where were you with the void, the liquid?
Well, I was going to say, and this is jumping ahead a little bit with the black void, because we see that a number of times.
Yeah.
But what happens when they enter the void? We see one person submerged, and he sees another person in the void who's been in there a lot longer.
It's pretty bloated.
Yeah, and eventually the skin just, well, the inside of the skin kind of disappears, and the skin's just left like an empty, like a used condom.
Yeah, it absolutely deflates. It's actually awesome to watch, but
you skipped over the sort of the scene where they make eye contact and reach for each other.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, this man actually tries to help the other.
Yeah, they know. I think they both know that they're going to die in there.
Yeah.
So they're being dissolved in the void
from the inside somehow.
Yeah, with only their skin left.
Yeah.
We get to see a meat trough leading to somewhere.
Sorry, I need to mention another thing. We actually see 3 or 4 spinning bright lights above a certain house in a scene just before this.
Ah, yes.
Which is also significant. Again, not saying it was aliens, but
aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So she drives around trying to pick up people, and at one point she goes to the beach, which I thought was a fairly important scene.
Very. And very, very disturbing.
Yeah, it shows at that point she doesn't really have any empathy.
No.
So, yeah, there's a man on the beach who she's talking to, and someone goes out into the ocean and starts to drown.
Chasing a dog.
Chasing a dog. There's a dog several dozen feet further out from this person.
The family dog gets towed out by the current, and the wife goes after it.
Leaving the baby sitting on the beach.
Well, no, the father's with the baby, and then the father realizes that his wife is getting dragged out to sea.
And the person that Scarlett Johansson's character, the lady, I'm just going to call her the lady or the woman, is speaking to is just a surfer.
Yeah.
He was surfing on this really rough ocean, and starts up a conversation with this man, as she does. And she asks the same questions often, like, where are you from? Her questions are really, really intense.
Yeah, where are you from? Do you have any family? Do you have a girlfriend? Do people know where you are? Like, really...
Yeah, and she's really, really nice about it. Really sweet.
Just seemingly interested. And I think he gets a weird vibe from her, because he acts really awkward.
He really does get a weird vibe from her. You can see it on his face.
Yeah. That's when we hear the screaming coming from the family.
And we see the dog out in the ocean, and the I think it's a blonde woman swimming after him or it.
And then the husband wading out to try to rescue his wife, leaving the baby on the beach.
Yes, in panic.
And Surfer Boy tries to rescue the husband. And we see the wife go under. He manages to drag the husband out, but the husband shoves him off and goes back in, leaving Surfer Guy sort of unconscious because he must have inhaled a good amount of water.
He was probably exhausted him. And this is a cut scene too. This is probably 10 minutes in real time, and it's filmed in 30 seconds. But it was probably 10 or 15 minutes of this surfer dragging this man in.
Yeah, and the baby screaming the entire time, very quietly in the background, and you could hear it. And that's just a grating sound. Makes you feel not good. Instinctually, as a human being, you don't like to hear a baby cry.
No.
And ScarJo's character comes along and bashes Surfer Boy over the head with a rock until he's unconscious and drags him back to her van. Which takes her a long time.
Leaving the screaming toddler.
Yes, on the beach.
On the beach.
Which shows that at this point she has absolutely no empathy or no emotions.
You know, it's not that she has no empathy, it's that she doesn't. I don't think she knows what the child is.
Probably not.
I don't think she understands at all, or it at this point. I mean, I thought of her, even the first time I watched this film, I thought of her as an it at this point, because clearly she's not even. Whether there's a gender assigned to that is kind of irrelevant from a human audience, I guess.
I don't think it really matters that much.
Yeah, so personally, it's hard for me to call it her or the woman or the lady even. I just refer to it as it in my head, and I always have. But yeah, the scene directly after that with the motorcycle man coming back to the beach.
Yes. Where the baby's crawled like halfway down the beach and is still screaming, and I guess
it's dark out at this point.
Yeah, nobody can hear it because it's the beach is loud. Yeah, the ocean's loud.
Yeah, it's a really rough beach. Anon, did you think for a split second in your head? I'm not sure if you did or not. I personally did, but did you think that the man was coming for the baby for a split second in your head?
Yes, to take it back for nourishment. Yeah,
I did too. I don't know what Bane thinks, but I did too. And when he simply picked up the man's or the person's scarf or jacket or whatever it was,
all his
and walked away, my heart sank.
Yeah, me too. I would have that's really fucked up on our part. That we'd almost rather the baby get eaten than just be left there to drown.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the purpose of the whole scene was to show that the aliens have no empathy or no understanding.
Absolutely. I understood the purpose, but that's why I said split second. For a split second, I thought, oh, wow.
I thought at least they were going to eat it.
Yeah, but no, completely no empathy, no.
It's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch somebody walk by a baby in distress because he's in human skin. Like,
but the thing is, they're not eating them. They just want the skin to use as a disguise, and a baby skin wouldn't be practical.
No.
So it's all about practicality. There's no empathy. There's no understanding. It's just, the baby isn't something to be considered because it's not of any use.
Yes.
Well, you don't think they're eating them? You don't think they're using innards?
With the trough? The trough is leading down into something.
I
think they're consuming the innards.
I mean, the skin is significant, obviously.
Yes.
But I mean, and I mean, this brings up a lot of moral questions in a person's mind. I wouldn't personally view these things, again, not saying they're aliens, as evil or awful.
No, they're just surviving the way that they know how to survive.
Well, as we'll find in the very last scenes of the movie. And again, why that single tear at the beginning of the film is important.
Yes.
And
I think it's time to maybe talk about Scarlett Johansson's character picking up the Elephant Man.
Well, I was going to say, is someone working in a slaughter yard? Are they evil?
Well, no.
Well, but that's what I would assume, that we could judge the aliens on that same level.
I suppose we could, but I will say that they are obviously trying very hard not to get caught.
Yes, they because we actually hear her listening to a police report about that family that went missing to make sure there's nothing about the man, the surfer guy who also disappeared the same evening.
That's right, and that's why as soon as a man says, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go see my girlfriend," or whatever it is, she drives off immediately. Yeah. She wants nothing to do with that. Only single, unattached men.
Yeah.
Even if they say they have a friend, I'm gonna go meet my friends down the pub.
They don't want to be found out, though. I mean, if they're murdering people for their skin so they can be disguised as humans, they obviously don't want to be caught. So
they go through great lengths to avoid getting caught, though. Like, that's why she won't take anybody who even mentions family or friends.
Friends down the pub. Nope, absolutely not.
Somebody's gonna notice that you're missing really soon.
Yeah. Which is it obviously they don't want to get caught. I mean, yeah, that would be obvious, but
so we moving on to what did you refer to him as?
The Elephant Man. I mean, how else would you describe him?
Well, he is a deformed individual.
Yes.
And obviously he's we're meant to feel a lot of empathy for this poor guy. He's obviously very lonely.
He goes to the store at night all by himself because people stare at his deformity.
Yeah, and make fun of him. So, and when Scarlett Jo pulls up and says, "Do you want to get into the van?" He can't believe it. He thinks it's some kind of joke that she must be going to make fun of him because here's this beautiful woman asking him to, get in the van. And all he's known is, people making fun of him.
He actually pinches himself, which just breaks my heart a little bit.
He does. I need to mention that in the other encounters we see, as brief as they are, she mentions the men's face both times.
Yeah.
Oh, you're nice looking. You're incredibly handsome. But she doesn't mention his face at all.
No, she says you have nice hands. You have beautiful hands.
Yeah. I'm not saying that's empathy. It's just there's a cunning behind.
Yes, very cunning.
Statements. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, she's like a spider. So
yeah, there's a cunning. She sees that this man is not, I guess you could say, traditionally handsome in the human sense. And it's more of a cunning than an intelligence, and it's really very disturbing. And yeah, she is like a spider for sure.
And she asks if he has a girlfriend or has ever had a girlfriend. And
absolutely, because
very, very uncomfortable at the whole discussion. The poor guy.
He is, but those questions. Well, yeah, absolutely, but those questions have a cunning behind them. That, I mean, it's probably pretty obvious, but I feel it should be mentioned.
Well, yeah,
the questions themselves.
There's a reason she's asking.
Yeah,
she may not even really understand that.
Well, maybe not, but she wouldn't have asked those questions to the other two men that we saw her pick up.
Yeah,
because they're, regardless of if somebody thinks they're handsome or sexy or whatever, they're. To not sound completely insensitive, they're normal looking.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
Yeah, I imagine the deformed individual would find it extremely hard to find a girlfriend. I don't know if there's a dating site for people like that.
Well, no, and like Anand mentioned, when he pinched himself, it was like, oh.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. Makes me feel a little bit bad for picking on him, but he's not a real person, so
he seems like a nice guy too. He's well spoken, and he's
Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for him because he must have had an entire life full of loneliness and being made fun of, and
leads an awful life.
Which is why he can't believe it when she picks him up.
Yeah,
and takes him back to her lair to. Dissolve him in the pool, the black pool.
And almost succeeds. And this is where that teardrop really, really becomes significant.
Now, I think we skipped a bit. Didn't the motorcycle guy test her just before this?
Oh, yes, that's absolutely right. Yeah, the motorcycle man stared her down in, I think it was the White Void, wasn't it?
I can't remember, but I do remember him testing her, and it was obvious to see if she was developing any type of empathy.
Yeah, empathy or human emotion.
Yeah.
He looked deeply into her eyes and examined her body as well.
Mm-hmm.
But who wouldn't, really?
Yeah. But no, I just meant even for any like perspiration or anything. Is she nervous? Yep. Is
any excuse
like
really.
That? Yeah.
You are a dirty old man.
I hope so.
Well, I mean, early next year she is returning as Black Widow, so there you go.
Yeah, but that doesn't have titties. This movie had titties.
Well, no, it's rated a pretty soft PG-13, so.
You're gonna have to go.
So anyway, she's obviously developing emotions or empathy because she lets the form man go. She
not after having a very long staring contest with herself in that mirror.
Yeah, she comes down is it the stairs? I think so,
yes.
Right? Yeah, and she sees her reflection in. I don't think it's a mirror. I think is it a mirror or is it just a piece of glass?
I think it's actually a mirror. It's broken, but I think it's actually a mirror.
So she stares at herself for a long while, and then glances over to the left and sees a fly struggling to get out.
Get out, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel as if that's the point that she truly, I'm using air quotes here, breaks.
Yeah, where she suddenly starts to feel like
I think
monster.
we don't see it, but I think she lets the fly out.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously what the scene is going for.
Yeah. And she goes and fishes out the elephant man from the goop. From the black oily goop,
and then proceeds to
and sets him free, totally naked,
in what I assume is cold and winter, and
he's obviously disoriented.
Isn't Scotland always cold? Do they have like a hot season?
That's when the haggis attacks.
Yeah, thank goodness it's not the hot season. Anyway,
in the hot season, you could get icicles on your testicles. So,
what do you call those?
Icicles on your testicles.
Yeah. What do you call those?
Icicles.
There you go. That's what I was fishing for.
Fishing for icicles. There we go. And that about sums it up, folks. Good night.
I managed to not cough all night. I think the cough medicine's wearing off.
Yeah, so the foreman goes for a run across the Scottish fields, trying to get away because he realizes that he just wandered into a spider's web, and somehow the spider pushed him out. So
can I say he wandered into a Black Widow's lair? Oh, come on. That was brilliant and awful and carry on.
That was awful. Do you feel bad? Because you should.
Well, I feel wonderful.
Yeah, so she breaks and she gets in the does she get into the van? I think she gets in the van and drives off, doesn't she?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In a direction.
Showing a little bit of emotion.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the poor deformed man reaches suburbia at the bottom of the field, only to have the motorcycle man come and kill him.
Yeah. And throw his body in a trunk.
Yep.
Of a car and drive off.
He then steals, yeah.
Yeah.
So she is now hunted by the motorcycle man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are 4 of them. The main one and 3 others. Which I assume
they all go in different directions.
Well, they do. I assume that there's some kind of telekinetic connection between them. Maybe just a little. I don't think it's just because he obviously knew where the deformed man was, and I think it might not be like a direct link, so to speak, but I think there is a little bit of a telepathic link. It just
maybe with her.
Yeah.
I don't think necessarily with the Elephant Man. They must have been watching her.
Well, I'm sure they were watching, but I just meant with her.
So the prostitute at the start in the ditch, is she? Do you think she's an alien who developed emotions like she did? They've killed her. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think she was not the first, but one of many who went through the same thing. Because I mean, perhaps it would be hard for an interstellar being to interact with us humans and not develop human traits.
Well, there's a scene later that suggests the skin it's retained sentience from its previous owner.
There is, yeah.
So
yeah,
it's almost like it's taking over the alien within it.
Well, that seems to me like a bit of a stretch, but pardon the pun. But yeah, I mean that definitely holds weight.
So anyway, we before we get to that, we see Scarlett Jo on the bus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where she's
very
picked
wet.
up by. Well, that's a bit later, I think. But anyway, where she's picked up by a Scottish man.
No, I would have said very fishy.
No, there's no fetus there.
That's right. Yeah.
There's something in there for sure.
There's no fishy fetus.
Well, she's looking for something, but anyway, we'll get there.
Yeah, so she's picked up by a Scottish man and goes back to his place for a bowl of haggis.
Yeah, which I gotta say, this dude is really just a nice guy.
We totally skipped her spitting out the cake, though.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, the cake. Man, I've been waiting the whole evening to mention that. That's my favorite scene in the movie.
You guys are both skipping over your favorite scenes.
Yeah.
In with the cop, you with the cake.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene in the film. Is the cake scene.
It's very strangely funny.
It is. It is. I actually laughed out loud the first time I saw it.
Goddamn cake looks delicious.
Not in a ridiculous, I'm watching Dumb and Dumber or something way, but it was very funny in a strange way. Because she's obviously confused, and I call her she at this point, not it.
Yeah, and she's trying to be human, but
yeah, she's trying, and she figures, okay, well, I'm gonna sit down and maybe order a piece of cake, and who knows how she ordered it. I find it amusing to think about how she ordered it too. Did she just point?
Well, she knows how to speak.
Yeah, I'm sure she put on her charm and she ordered a piece of cake.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Oh, I need to think.
I have a cake.
Wait a minute. That's another scene that Bane and I both mentioned that we forgot to mention as well, is the cat scene where she's like a striking cat.
Where she pulls over and off and on and off. Yes.
Yeah, she pulls over on the side of the road and looks out the passenger side window and waits. And the very split second she sees the deformed man, she says, "Excuse me."
Yeah.
Her face turns from emotionless to the sweet.
It's the smile, like from the dead eyes and the nothing, and
to completely
That's why I think she did an amazing job in this movie. From the blank alien, emotionless stare to emotion instantly. It was extremely well done.
Makes up for the accent.
Her accent wasn't too bad. I mean, she was. Yeah. Hey, it's better than Dick Van Dyke.
You got girlfriend.
Want some fish and chips?
Oh no, now every time we watch it, I'm going to hear that.
Oi!
Oi, any good haggis lately?
That's a classy lady. Maybe that's why they didn't get her to talk very much.
Maybe.
Oh, Lord.
Not
anyway,
the worst
she gets her cake, and apparently the cake is the most disgusting thing ever. She actually gags it up, which is lovely.
Yeah, and she looks a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
That she couldn't do it.
That she didn't like the cake.
Yeah, she's a little distressed, and that's when she leaves the restaurant and I believe walks down the street and meets the nice fellow.
Yes.
And boards the bus.
On the bus. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, on the side of the street first.
Well, yeah, and I don't even remember what he said because I can't fucking understand it.
You're all right.
Even though he speaks very well. Yeah.
Want some haggis, love?
There's a lot of human empathy in these few scenes. Even the bus drivers. The bus driver is very concerned.
Well, honestly, if I saw a woman acting the way she was acting, I would have jumped to the same conclusions they did. Battered woman on the run from her abusive husband.
Well, yeah,
something like that,
or something like because
she's really, really fucking weird. She looks terrified.
As the bus driver said, you've barely got any clothing on. It's freezing outside.
Yeah, it's Scarlett Jo though, so why would you bring that up?
Because she's gonna die. She's gonna get a freaking pneumonia and die.
Well, the deformed man survived running across the field. So
yeah, but she's obviously been out in it for hours. You don't want the obvious. You don't want the love of your life to get a cold die. Jesus. God, no. You're not very chivalrous, are you? Poor girl's all freezing to death, and you're over here. Take it off.
She's an alien in human skin, so I doubt she's the love of my life. I hope not, anyway.
No, just Scarlett Johansson.
Oh,
just stay away. Yeah. Just stay away from the black goo, and I guess you'll.
Is Scarlett Jo aware that she's the love of my life? Just curious. I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Have you made this clear to her?
No, you just told me, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, the way you're fawning over her, my goodness.
Have you seen the movie?
Yes, there was a lot of tits. As I've mentioned more than once. I mean, how could you not mention Scarlett Johansson's tits?
We would not be bringing up the amount of tits if Roseanne Barr was in this movie.
No, we'd be going, oh, and she gets naked. Oh,
and the sandbags. So many sandbags.
They're the varicose veins.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the amount of empathy that this alien experiences on this bus must be pretty overwhelming.
Yes. Are you okay? Do you need help?
Considering
the bus driver tells the other guy to go away. She's obviously not interested.
Yeah. And this guy isn't even a creep. He's just like a lonely, decent guy. Just like
doing the same thing the bus driver's doing, making sure she's fucking okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes game shows and haggis and baked beans on toast. Typical.
Who doesn't
Scotsman.
like baked beans on toast? Come on now.
It is pretty good.
It is very good. Yeah. But she's not quite sure what to do with this. She doesn't even eat her dinner.
No, she just kind of sits with it, doesn't she?
And then he makes her a nice cup of tea before bed and simply says goodnight.
Of course he does. Gotta have a cup of tea before bed.
Well, yeah. Scotland. Cup of haggis, cup of tea, whatever. Does haggis come in a cup? Sure it does.
Hey, don't be such a Neanderthal. Haggis is a classy meal. You don't have that before bed. What a waste.
Yeah, it's like 2-minute noodles, but it's haggis.
Like it's basic.
It's haggis in a cup.
No, it's
hot water.
It's Scottish ramen, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes, he's
Okay.
pour hot water in it and stir it. And
there you go. You got haggis. So do they serve like dehydrated haggis? That's like the size of my fist.
Yeah,
the size of my fist in a freeze dried package. And
that's so gross. I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, if you're really impatient, you can throw it in the microwave for 30 seconds, but it's a little soggy, not quite as good.
God.
Still,
I like to eat ramen. I eat ramen noodles raw.
Yeah.
The instant ones.
Oh, the crunch. Yeah, they're crunchy.
Yeah, they're good. They're crunchy and delicious.
So anyway, we're about to come up to one of my favorite scenes.
Of course, it's one of your favorite scenes. Why wouldn't it be one of your favorites?
I laughed out loud. That's why it's one of my favorites.
What? When she was examining herself?
Well, yeah.
Well, she goes to bed with the guy, and
oh no, you skipped over Full Beaver.
Oh, the exploration of her body.
The exploration of her body, which is alien to her, because I guess she hasn't looked at herself at all. She's in the mirror. There's boobs, and this is where we get almost vagine.
There's vanity there now.
Yeah,
a little bit of vanity. So,
and then she gets into bed with the guy.
No, then they go up in the castle together.
Oh, the castle. Yeah, that's right. They go on a date.
And she experiences like real fear.
Yeah, she's afraid of heights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he helps her get down from there, which is very sweet.
Yeah, he's a decent dude.
It's very sweet. Then they go to bed together. Okay, now you could talk about it.
Then they go to bed together, and that doesn't work out too well.
No.
There's no hole.
It's like trying to put a round peg into a
non-hole.
A non-hole, yeah.
Well, I think there's a little bit there, obviously.
Well, the flaps of skin, but there's no actual in.
Well, no, that's it. And you see his face; he's very confused.
Which, I mean, if she was a virgin, if he was like bashing into the cherry, I guess. But even then, that probably doesn't feel like that. I imagine not.
I mean, this cements. I mean, we haven't seen the. I mean, I'm ruining it, but there will be spoilers. I'm ruining it, but it's the true form, right, of their humanoid form. They
yes.
Yeah. So there's. I gathered even on first viewing that there's nothing under that.
Yeah, there's no hole. Which is why she grabs the lamp and sticks it between her legs. Like, the fuck?
Yeah, she panics, gets very confused, grabs the lamp.
But she knows what sex is instinctually. Yeah,
she expects there to be a hole there. That's what I mean. That's why.
And she wants it. She likes it. She's into this.
This is why I'm continuing to think that the skin itself is actually separate and
not the consciousness.
Sort of.
Not the consciousness itself. Maybe halfway.
Sort of.
But I think these. I'll mention that later. I don't want to get too far ahead.
Well, that just ruins the whole evening, and it's time for her to go and wander in the woods.
Finding out your girlfriend doesn't have a vagina usually ruins
the fact that we never hear from this guy again.
Not always,
so I just assume
but usually it ruins the evening.
Yeah, be a little.
Well, yeah, I would assume so, but we never hear from the nice dude again. So I just assume he says "fuck it" and has a beer and has some and has some dehydrated haggis and just kind of goes on.
Masturbates himself into a stupor.
Yeah,
he got to see.
Probably drinks himself into a stupor.
Yeah.
After that experience. Yeah.
Because she probably runs out of the house at that point.
After taking one of his lamps and staring at her non-hold vagina like the fuck, and then disappearing into the woods.
Well, they can heal up after a while, can't they?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
We just cut a hole.
What, vaginas?
They have remarkable healing powers. Have you ever seen one of those things push out a baby before?
If you don't use them on a regular basis, they just heal right up.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
They just heal over. Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Oh, well, I guess I don't know how it feels to bottom out on something with your dick, so we're all learning things about our bodies today.
This is very enlightening.
Sex ed with the retard crew here. No hold vaginas.
If you're ever confused, just shine a lamp on it. Here,
there's going to be some terrified girl going, "Oh my god, if I don't use it, it's going to close up forever."
It's going to heal up. Better hurry up. Oh, that's horrible advice.
Yeah, you better shove something in there right quick.
So anyway, she goes for a wander in the forest.
We're never going to make any money, are we?
No. And I'm glad for that, because I don't want to censor myself.
There you go. Anyway, yeah, she goes for a nice hike in the forest.
And comes across a
lovely young man.
Yeah.
Y'all alone? Whoa, now she gets to feel what it's like to be prey.
Yes, the tables are turned.
Yes. She is in the spider web.
And he's a forest worker. He's got some kind of logging truck or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, some kind of logging truck. Yeah.
Yeah, he's marking trees for falling.
Yeah, they probably remove them before they, like, when they're dead, they go and take them out before they crush somebody, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. He's probably just spray painting them and going ahead. Anyway, he's a forest worker.
Yep. And a lovely gentleman.
Who then tries to rape her, but that doesn't go well.
Twice.
Yeah, because as we've already established, she doesn't have a vagina.
Yeah, but that's not the problem. Not this time.
I would say that is a problem, but
not
anyway.
This time anyway. He directs her to a little cabin that I guess is just for hikers to take refuge when it's raining.
Yeah, they
have a quickie.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely.
That too. Those are actually pretty common on hiking trails, just little cabins where the hikers are responsible for the cleanliness and whatever. They're generally pretty nice. But anyway,
so she very childlike, I think, crawls into a corner and goes to sleep.
She's very adamant about going into a corner.
And the way she drags her legs across the floor instead of walking, like she shouldn't get it dirty or something.
She just kind of scooches. Yeah, she doesn't want to get the floor dirty because the sign said, "Please keep it tidy."
Oh, it's kind of cute, actually.
It really is actually kind of cute because she's taking it very, very literally.
Yeah.
She's trying very hard not to get it dirty.
And she scooches over to the corner and goes to sleep and is rather rudely awoken by the lovely young logger trying to cop a feel.
Who's kind of molesting her at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
reaching his hand up her jeans, and
he was doing a body search, a cavity search for haggis.
Well, you can never be too sure. Sometimes they attach to the body, and yeah.
So she flips out and runs off through the forest, and he starts to chase her. And for a little bit, I thought that maybe he wasn't doing what we thought he was doing, and she just sort of wigged out for no reason and hid from him, because you don't really hear or see him pursuing her until she finds his truck.
No, and she does, and she tries to start his truck, and then that's when you see true fear, when she can't find the keys or the button or whatever it is.
Yeah,
she actually cries out.
Yeah,
she actually for the first time, you actually really hear her cry out in fear. like screams, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really, but
audible. She makes
an audible fear response
distress.
Because, well, I mean, who the fuck wants to get raped? So
well, she climbs out of the truck, and then we see him. So he was obviously pursuing her, and she tries to flee again, but I mean, you can't run in heels, especially not in a forest. Not well.
No, yeah.
He very, very easily catches her and subdues her, and starts ripping her clothes off, and then gets a layer too deep.
Yeah. And that's something I found interesting too. Yeah, he does get a layer too deep, and then rips
big chunk of her skin.
Yeah, and gets black substance all over his hands.
Yeah. It looks
and that's
greasy.
Yeah, and that's it is greasy, and that's when we see her and or its true form.
Yeah. It wanders away a little bit and then collapses onto its knees and pulls the skin off. And when it does this, it turns the skin around to face itself, and the skin is crying
and blinking. It's ScarJo's face at this point.
Yes. So the alien is actually making eye contact with the skin, which seems to have its own emotions.
Yeah.
Or is that the interpretation of the alien?
Could be.
It could be. The alien in this case is obviously humanoid shaped, but I mentioned black, literally black, like and oily. The rapist.
Let's think about this for a second, right? What are the chances of an alien species being exactly human size and shape to the point where it can just slip on a human skin?
I don't think it is. I think it's liquid.
Exactly. I think it's the same substance that was in that black void.
Yeah, it just took on the shape. Yeah, it took on the shape of the skin.
Yeah, and become solid or semi-solid.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And the reason I say that is because the rapist gets some of it on his hands.
Yeah.
Very clearly.
Oh yeah. Black goopy hands. He looks at them like, what in the world is this?
And then the camera pans to her back, its back, and he runs back to his truck, which isn't very far away at this point, probably 100 feet.
She didn't get far.
No, not very far at all from the truck. And he comes back with the jerry can and douses her in gasoline or fuel, and lights a match. And that's really it. There is no audible scream or vocal anything from her or it, as a really awesome scene of it running through the forest burning alive.
Yeah, it just dies.
Yeah, it just collapses and dies as we see the motorcycle man on top of a cliff. We see the black smoke in the distance as he turns 90 degrees to the right, 180 degrees to the left, 90 degrees back, and that's it. He walks away and continues on.
Yeah.
So either he was confused because I think he lost a signal.
Basically. Yeah. I think you're right. I think there was even a faint signal connecting them, and then it was gone.
Yeah.
So
he looked around for a bit and then just continued on, and they started over.
So is the black void one consciousness, or is it
separate? I think it is and isn't.
Well, I think it is
until it separates.
Until it isn't.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
I think the four motorcycle men are basically the same entity. and this is what I think, and I should mention that this is adapted from a novel, which I haven't read. So I don't really know exactly what that novel entails. But I will say that basically the director intended a lot of this to be left up to interpretation. So,
and just because something is adapted from a novel doesn't mean that it's an accurate adaptation anyway.
No. Apparently it's not, as far as I know. Apparently it's not that. Excuse me. Apparently it's not that accurate. And also, I will mention that this film was actually in production. Well, I shouldn't say in production, but at least a thought in the director's mind for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it started out as it was supposed to be a really heavily special effects laden film, like a blockbuster.
I'm kind of glad they didn't go that route, to be honest.
Me too. But it was supposed to be, and then the budget shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk, and then apparently, just from what I've read, he thought, well, why not do something a little bit more subdued?
That can be a good thing.
Okay.
I think sometimes if a movie has too big a budget, it can rely too much on flashy special effects and not creativity from the director.
That's right. And I think a lot of us, myself included, we fall back on, oh, well, if it's practical effects, it's okay. But even that can be overdone.
Yeah.
It sometimes it's just not needed. And I think this, more than any other film in the last 20 years, and I say that honestly, is a testament to minimalism in film.
Less is more.
Less is more.
Yeah, the Black Void, for example, is perfectly effective and quite beautiful too.
It is, and so is the White Void.
Yeah, but you don't need
$100
million worth of special effects.
No,
it would have actually not from the scene if that happened.
Yeah, it would have been too. It would have been. Yeah, it definitely would have been as good.
Let's say this film had a $200 million budget, just for argument's sake. I think it would have been a really good movie, a really cool science fiction movie, but I don't think it would have had the brain it has in its current form.
Yeah, it wouldn't have relied on the creativity of the director.
No, I don't think so. I think it would have. I think the script would have been overblown. It might have even been a really good script, but the 239 words or whatever would have just blown up into a standard movie script, and I think it would have been lesser for it.
I wonder how many pages the script was.
In its original form, or
what was shot? Because roughly 1 page of script is meant to equal 1 page of 1 minute on screen, right? So if you have a 100-page script, a rough estimate is an hour and 40 minutes.
Okay,
but in this case, considering it's got Scarlett Jo driving around a lot, you don't need a lot of description for that.
No, not really. So there's one scene.
You might have 10 minutes of her driving around, but it's not going to take 10 pages to describe that. So,
no,
I imagine it would be a fairly short script.
Imagine so. There's a scene pretty early in the film where it's just her face driving around.
For quite a bit.
Yeah, it's I've timed it. I've seen this movie a lot. It's 3 minutes and 45 seconds of just her face. It's very David Lynch-esque, actually, in that regard. But it's really, really compelling. And yeah, you can describe that in 2 sentences. So.
I can feel my medicine wearing off.
Oh no, is the cold coming back?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, darn those human sicknesses.
Yeah. It's all Pee-Pee's fault.
So, anyway, I feel that though I actually didn't plan it, these movies are kind of similar in a way.
Well, in the sense that you shouldn't get in the car with strangers.
Well, yeah, that's loose, but I feel as if it's the true self lurking. Just you'll excuse the pun. I'm actually not trying to be silly here, but it's the true self lurking just under the skin.
Although they look totally different and have totally different feels.
They do. They're completely different films. The first film we talked about, The Reflecting Skin, is a horror film, a drama horror film. Through and through. Under the Skin, as disturbing as it can be, is just a really it's a science fiction film.
Yeah, but even when it's disturbing, it's still beautiful. Like the scenes in the void.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous to look at. Where The Reflecting Skin, I know I used the word beautiful beforehand. I'm speaking just from the craft of filmmaking. But yeah, it's a disturbing film. It's uncomfortable. Oh, and one thing we all forgot to mention is the title of the film, The Reflecting Skin, actually comes from.
Oh yeah, we did miss that. A photograph.
Cameron's description of a photograph that he was showing Seth on the dining room table. As that's the same scene where he asks him to look at his gums, I believe, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just after that. Same scene, but just after that, yes.
Yeah, and he describes this baby, this Japanese baby, whose skin has turned silver and has started to basically reflect like a mirror.
Yeah, you can see yourself in it, he was saying.
Yeah, you could see yourself. The skin is so taut and so sickly with radiation that you can see yourself in it. And that, oddly, is actually what the film is named after. That's what The Reflecting Skin comes from.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's part of the X-Men franchise?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the baby's going to grow up to be a mutant.
No, the baby is going to grow up to be Wolverine's adamantium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure how you missed that. That's very silly.
I thought it was either that or it's part of Akira.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's another movie I want to touch on one day, but yeah. Just a blob of blah.
Anyway, so would we recommend these 2 movies?
Oh, definitely. If you want to be uncomfortable.
I would without a doubt recommend Under the Skin. As for Reflecting Skin, I don't think it's a movie for everyone.
It's not quite as accessible.
Yeah.
It's not as weird as Santa Sangre, though.
No. I would recommend you watch it, but I don't think it's going to be everyone's cup of tea.
There's heavy pedophilia undertones in it. If that stuff makes you really uncomfortable, I wouldn't watch it.
Yeah. The scene where the driver puts his fingers on Seth's lips was rather disturbing.
Yeah, it's incredibly disturbing.
It gives me the uncomfortableness just thinking about it.
Just how nonchalant John was about it. I will see you around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the very convincing smile that he gives him too. And I suppose a kid would find it very, very convincing and confusing. Yeah.
That guy's awfully friendly.
So surprisingly, the movie with the aliens dissolving humans for their skin is the less disturbing movie of the two.
It really is. Aside from the freezing toddler on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's
that one really kind of picked my butt. That was very disturbing.
I'm still upset neither of you explained the fetus.
I can't explain the fetus.
Yeah, I'm very upset.
I've got nothing. I mean, it really is just they found an ossified fetus.
Yeah, but why?
In a jar or whatever.
Why was it a fetus?
I don't know.
Thank you. You're very helpful.
Yep. Santa Claus left it.
Santa Claus left the fetus.
It's a Christmas movie.
Well,
secretly.
It is.
It's like Die Hard.
We leave him cookies and his reindeer carrots, and he leaves us ossified fetuses.
Fishy ones. That's not very nice.
Die Hard. That's the movie about the guy who overdosed on Viagra, isn't it?
Yes. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yes. Would I recommend these films? Under the Skin? Absolutely. It's really not as heady as we might have made it sound.
It's very straightforward.
It is. It's very, very straightforward. It's quite accessible.
Oh yeah. Just aliens dissolving people.
Yeah, there are undertones. It's a beautifully shot film. I suppose if you want to see ScarJo's tits.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's it. It's something for everyone. If you like a well-shot artsy movie, then it's perfect. And if you don't like a well-shot artsy movie, you got Scarlett Jo's tits. So
there you go. Win-win.
I need to mention that the film is 149 or not 100. Sorry, 1 hour and 49 minutes long.
Half of it's Scarlett Johansson's tits.
It never.
The other half is her driving around the van. So
that's right. It never felt that long to me though.
No.
It's not boring.
No.
It's not a boring film at all.
No, not at all.
It feels very straightforward. There's a lot to take in. But even somebody who I would recommend it to somebody who doesn't like slow burns. I would. I would recommend Under the Skin to somebody who likes action movies.
There's enough going on. Yeah,
there is. It's very interesting. The Reflecting Skin, personally, I wouldn't recommend.
It's not for everybody.
That's not to say I don't think it's a good film. It's one of my favorite films. I love it. I try to watch it as little as possible. That sounds strange.
Well, no, when you really like something, it's nice to...
It's one of your favorite movies, which you're not going to recommend, and you try not to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually understand what you're saying, but it just sounds...
No, I know it sounds weird. I know that. I understand. I just... It's
one of those things.
It is one of those things. I think most people, even if they really, even a hardcore fan of David Lynch, might find The Reflecting Skin to be boring as fuck.
Could do, yeah.
I gotta say, I'm a huge David Lynch fan, but I do prefer David Lynch to The Reflecting Skin.
Me
I didn't mind it. I thought it was an interesting movie. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah. I was thinking of calling this episode Diet Lynch. To be honest.
And to be honest with you, I think I enjoyed The Reflecting Skin more the second time I watched it.
Yeah.
The first time it left me rather disturbed, and I thought I really need to watch it again to give it a proper chance.
Yeah, the first time it's more of my mouth is agape what the fuck just happened.
That's how I felt, because I only had time to watch it once, and the ending, I was like, oh dear God, that poor boy, that poor little sociopath.
Yeah, I interpreted that as him experiencing all of that guilt all at once.
Yeah.
But the second time I watched it, I think I went a bit deeper into it.
Yeah, I should really watch it again one of these days.
Put
myself through it again.
Yeah,
but it's not a movie I could watch over and over and over again. I don't think.
No, me neither. I try, and sometimes I fail. That's why I don't recommend it. I mean, give it a shot if you like, but I think it's a very, very difficult film. I don't think it's bad, but it's difficult.
It's disturbing.
It is. It's difficult in a way that I think most difficult, intelligent films aren't.
Do you know what it's like? It's like you go to an overseas country and someone says, hey, do you want to try eating bugs? You go, yeah, okay, I'll give it a try. You're not in a hurry to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose so.
Hey, actually,
you gave it a shot and you ate it. It doesn't matter whether you liked it or not because you already tried it.
Apparently, salted crickets taste sort of like potato chips. If you can get over the fact that there's legs and stuff, yeah, apparently they don't taste much different than.
You can get over the fact that there's legs and pedophiles and. Yeah.
Oh, those two words should not be used in the same sentence.
My point is, even though I don't think it's a movie for everyone, I would recommend people watch it just for the experience.
It is an experience. That is for certain.
I would recommend people try to watch it, but I think most people would be bored by it. And I don't think that's not a knock against most people. That's not a backhanded anything. It's
especially
just
our viewers.
No, our viewers can handle it. Go watch it. Go watch it. Go torture yourself with the poor 8-year-old sociopath and the blown up bullfrog. Yeah.
If you're only going to watch one movie out of these two, though, I highly recommend Under the Skin, without a doubt.
Me as well.
Yeah.
Yes, me too.
Oh, I'm very excited for next episode.
Well, just before that, I was going to say I did watch the new Halloween.
Did you? Did you like it?
Oh, are you going to break him?
Are you going to break me?
I liked it. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, but did you like it better than the original?
Aside from
for sure.
Yeah. Aside from all of the comedy elements and the fact that it is like 10% as good as the original, it was pretty neat.
Oh, you're so wrong.
No, it's definitely better than the original.
Definitely.
I mean,
oh, damn you guys.
Stuff actually happens in this one.
Yeah, shit's going on. People are actually dying. I can watch it.
Stupid shit. Transformers in Halloween form.
Come on now.
No, I gotta say it was really, really cool to see basically 40 years of pent up sociopathic rage let out so early into a movie. I was actually pretty shocked by that. It was really cool.
We can't blindside these guys with spoilers of movies that aren't in the show. Don't go ruining it for anybody.
We do that all the time. We
do not.
At the end of the show, sure we do.
Sometimes. I try to wrangle you two.
No, but even during the show, sometimes we go off on a tangent and say it's like such and such. Remember?
Yes, but not something so new. Come on.
No, but besides all that, the new Halloween film actually it's pretty cool.
It's very good. If you like the original, you'll like it.
Into all the spoilers.
No.
I mean, we're not going to tell the listeners that Freddy Krueger turns up at the end, and that's the big surprise. And,
yeah.
Oh shit!
Okay. Good night, everybody. You're cut off.
No, actually, just before we finish, what's next time? What's in 2 weeks?
We have The Eyes of My Mother and Darling, which are both fairly new. I suppose, in the last decade.
Family films.
Oh my lord! If you love high contrast black and white, you're gonna get so much of it.
Yeah, you're actually gonna love this episode a lot.
Both of them, very high contrast black and white, and incredibly disturbing. I would say The Eyes of My Mother blow the reflecting skin out of the water for disturbing.
Yeah, these are.
Should we change the name of this show to?
Trying to scare the shit out of our audience.
About disturbing movies.
Yeah, I actually had a few concerns about that a little while ago. I mean, all we talk about, it seems, is art films. But
two kids starving in a cave? That's fine.
Yeah.
Although we're gonna wait, actually
talking about art films. First of all, no, I don't think we're talking about art films exclusively.
I'm looking at my calendar. I think the next one's going to be the Christmas episode, which means Krampus.
So when are we doing that, by the way?
I would say the next would be the 21st, which is 2 Fridays from now.
Yep.
Well, wouldn't that be the Eyes of My Mother then, or do you want?
No. We're going to skip it. I'll push mine by.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we'll push mine.
Yeah.
And do the Christmas episode first because it's Christmas time. It's time for it.
Dan, we haven't talked about it properly off air yet, but I think we should do a end of year wrap up, maybe New Year's Eve or something.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, because New Year's Eve for us is a Monday, so.
Yeah, that's okay. I did see that earlier, Bane, your the notepad thing.
Yep.
So I have that on my desktop. I'm gonna actually look through that properly.
Okay, well, I'm gonna end it now. We can talk about it off air. So next time,
doing Christmas next time.
Next time, I think we're gonna do Christmas, which I've picked Krampus. I think Master and Non's gone with Black Christmas.
You know what? It might be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation because. Come on.
I think I picked Bad Santa. So.
Oh no! You are actually gonna make me watch that. Fuck. Okay, well. Look forward to my demise. He's going to make me watch a horrible comedy. I use the word loosely. Film. Yay, comedy.
Go watch both of the films we talked about tonight, folks. Except for one of them. Just watch one of them. Watch Under the Skin.
Yeah, watch that one.
Bad Santa's
watch the other one if you want to be horribly depressed.
Bad Santa's an art house movie, isn't it?
Oh, God. Good night, everybody. See you next time.